Yo, what's up? How is everybody doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hold on, guys. Give me one second. All right, here we are. Ragazzi e ragazze, we are staying home. We are staying home. We're not bringing anything back to Rome. We're all staying home. Uh, we can pretend to boycott the World Cup. Tragedy happened the other day or yesterday. It was a total travesty. Anyway, what's up, guys? How's everybody doing? We got Skillard in the house. We got Silverware. We got Joel. How you guys doing? On a lighter note, Teo assist and Giroud goal today, and Leao assist yesterday. Nice. Jorginho was Krunic of the match. Right. The Milan players are playing actually really well. I was watching France play against Ivory Coast, and Giroud and Theo were kicking ass, absolutely kicking ass. And then Florenzi against Macedonia was him, and he was maybe Verratti was the best player of the day, but right after him it was Florenzi. So the Milan players are definitely kicking ass. But anyway, guys, let's talk about this game. Let's just get it out of the way. Today's stream is not going to be too long. We're just going to talk about what happened, maybe talk a little bit about Milan, but I do have a complaint coming up. Anyway, guys, Italy loses to Macedonia. Italy uh, misses two World Cups in a row, first time in their history. It will be 12 years we'll have to wait until we see Italy in the World Cup again if they qualify next time. 12 years. That's a very long time for a country that is used to winning. That is used to winning this tournament, that has tradition in this tournament, a country that is considered, an elite country when it comes to national, international, national team football. So Italy's DNA is very strange. It's very strange. It's a very strange DNA, and Italy seems to be a team psychologically that when they are in the shit, they come back up, and that inspires them to win. When Calciopoli was happening, and then 2006 we win the World Cup, and then right after winning that World Cup, everybody's hailed a hero. All those players completely fail. The completely just drop. Everybody drops. And once again, same thing here. Italy wins a Euro after not making the World Cup, comes in, wins a Euro, playing a football that is very positive, a football that is very pleasing to the eye, something that Italy hasn't done ever. So Mancini bringing a new twist to this Italian football, and he gets to win the Euro playing that football and losing one of his best players too, Spinazzola. As a matter of fact, after we lost Spinazzola in the Euro, then we saw that we started to have a little bit more difficulty attacking. But nonetheless, here we are. They take the trophy back to Rome. They celebrate. They're hailed as heroes, legends in the archives forever, the gold medalists, the ones that brought back gold. And what did they do? They did what the Romans did. They rested on their laurels. And that's why that phrase exists from the Roman culture. And still today, they rested on their laurels. For some reason, every time Italy wins a big international trophy, for some reason, they're playing with a full stomach, and they get into these mental blocks. Because let's be completely frank about this. The only thing that was missing from Italy, not only against Macedonia but against Switzerland, against Bulgaria, against Northern Ireland, is the goal. When these guys are in front of goal, they don't have the courage to score, and they lost that aggressiveness, that killer instinct. This team is a team that right now does not have a killer instinct. It can play football. It can get to the goal 30, 40 times. I think Italy took something like 30 something shots on goal against Macedonia. Not all, of course, a small chunk of them were on target. But if you don't put it in, guess what happens? The other team takes 1-2 shots and they score a goal. What should have been their goal of, what should have been the 4-1 ended up being the 0-1. Okay? 0-1. Italy lacks athletes. The Euros, well, I don't know. That's not true. Italy just, right now, Italy can beat any team in the world, but if you don't put those chances you have in the net, it doesn't matter, because as long as you're creating chances, you're creating chances. Italy completely dominated Macedonia, completely dominated them. But when Berardi has an open net in front of them, after dribbling all these players, these guys are Italy has great athletes. Actually, Italy has great athletes, and it's a mentality thing. It's the mental aspect. It's still this thing about Italy where you have noticed that in many countries outside in Europe have evolved with this playing style, which is dictated on the courage to win, right? They play with the courage to win. Rather, in Italy, that we're still holding on to this DNA that we're playing with the fear to lose. And we need to get rid of this. This is where we need to evolve. We need to get out of that mental state. We need to also step in the realm of playing football with the courage to win rather than the fear to lose. Once Italy will transition fully into that mentality, then Italy can start being a threat again on a consistent level. But one thing is for sure, one thing is definitely for sure. Obviously, this is a huge blow to Italy, huge blow. And of course, they are going to pay attention. So they're not going to quit. Italy is going to strap its boots back up, go back to the drawing board, and they're going to figure it out like they always have. It's too important. Football is too important for this country. Chiesa was missed heavily, absolutely. Yeah, Chiesa, who's being destroyed by Max Allegri. Most of the players have zero ambition. Yes, the ambition is not there, that hunger. I mean, we're talking about, we're saying athletes, right? Like Italy doesn't have athletes, blah, blah, blah. Jorginho missed 3 penalties in a row. You don't need to be an athlete to take a penalty. This is not about athleticism. Don't get fooled by Italy's athleticism. It's mentality. Football is all in your head. It's all in your head. You don't need to be the greatest athlete in the world to convert a penalty. If Jorginho would have taken one of those penalties, Italy wouldn't even be in this situation. It's this issue, this mental block that has happened when it comes to scoring goals. And this is one thing that I was talking about AC Milan as well, right? When we played against Empoli, why I was not happy at all with how we played against Empoli, and how I'm not happy at all when it comes to Milan, when they're taking all these chances and they only score one goal. They need to convert. Why? Why do these teams need to convert their chances? Because all it takes is one dirty chance from the other team, one episode, and then all of a sudden it's 3 minutes to go and you're losing 1-0. So this applies to AC Milan also. We have to take our chances. We have to take our chances. Luckily, Milan is in a completely different mental state, very healthy state. Milan's still very hungry to achieve, while Italy, this cycle achieved what it had to achieve, and then the fire burnt out really fast. Not just the chances, Roy's, the attitude stinks. Macedonia was just embarrassing. Players volunteered to leave the ball to one another, and Jorginho was more interested in crying than tackling. Yeah, attitude is the problem. Absolutely, because the players are there. The players to win a big tournament are there. Absolutely, it's a matter of attitude, and this is the issue, that it's just very difficult to keep what Spain did. Uh, about a decade ago, is incredibly impressive. Incredibly impressive to win a Euro, then to win a World Cup, and then to win another Euro. And in that same period, Barcelona was winning Champions League after Champions League. So that Barcelona backbone was absolutely dominating world football. World football. Absolutely dominating the world football at every sense. What they did is absolutely legendary. It's in the realm of like the great Ajax, the great Milan, the great Barcelona, right? But national team wise, the only the only team that has won two World Cups in a row in a row is Italy, in 34 and 38. That was a long time ago. But what Spain did with the Euro, World Cup and Euro is completely different. Italy doesn't have the mentality to do that. Okay. Roy, do you think what happened to Italy last night is the reason why Milan don't have many Italian players? No, 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 no. I absolutely not, Majidin. I think one of the problems with Italy, I have said it many times, is that they don't get enough Italian players. Inter doesn't have enough Italian players. Juve doesn't have enough Italian players. All these teams here, all these teams here, um, don't have don't have enough Italian players. I mean, if we look at the prior tournament, like this, I was really surprised how well this Italy team did in the Euros. I mean, I wasn't that surprised because I know what Italy is capable of, and I know that when they put their shit together, they win these big tournaments. But I was surprised by the fact that many of our players in the Italian national team play in the mid-level clubs. They're playing at Sassuolo. They're playing at Lazio. They're playing at Napoli. You know, it used to be that all the Italian national players played for Milan, Inter, and Juve. But right now, how many Italians are there at Milan? Calabria, Tonali. That's it. That's it. That's all Milan is given to this national team. The clubs have huge responsibility. The clubs, I've said this many times, the Italian football clubs have abandoned the Italian football player. The Italian football clubs have told the Italian football player a big fuck you. That's what happened. And this happened a long time ago, and I've been criticizing this a long time. Because Spain doesn't do that. England doesn't do that. Portugal doesn't do that. France surely doesn't do that. Germany doesn't fucking do it. The only country that has said fuck you to its domestic players is Italy. Because no other country is doing that. No other country is doing that. So, you reap what you sow. The clubs are to blame. The clubs are to blame 100%. 100%. 100%. There's absolutely nothing. The clubs and the bureaucracy of Italy. Why does it cost more to get? Why does it cost less to buy players in France? Why does it cost more to buy Italian players? What? Who the fuck made this bureaucracy? It makes no sense. The tax system that if you get Italian players, you pay more taxes, and the foreign players you don't. What? What is going on in Italy? But no, the clubs are the number one responsible. What number one responsible? Number one. Because there's plenty of talented Italian players. All you have to do is just put them on the pitch and let them develop, let them play. But because of these stupid laws when it comes to finances, when it comes to taxes, when it comes to the transfer market regulations, the Italian clubs have abandoned the Italian player. They've given the Italian player a big fuck you. Regardless, Italy still has players that are good enough to beat Bulgaria, are good enough to beat Switzerland, and are good enough to beat Macedonia. Okay? So qualifying to the World Cup shouldn't be an issue. You can do that with the players from Sassuolo, with the players from Lazio, with the players from Roma, with those players. Then, of course, winning a big tournament, of course, if you have, players that play in the Champions League every year. I mean, guys, how many Italians play in the semifinals of the Champions League? Almost zero if you compare it to France, to England, to Spain. Uh, it's zero. How many? It used to be that every year you had 6, 7, 8 Italian players playing in a semifinal Champions League. You'd have Italian teams in the finals. Guys, right now, there's almost zero Italian players even playing in who's playing in the quarterfinals coming up in this Champions League. Can you guys name me one Italian? Jorginho. That's it, right? Can you guys think of any other ones? I'm sure I must be missing someone. But in the next round of the Champions League, the quarterfinals of how many Italian football players are playing there? How many Italian players? Oh, Jorginho, one. That's it. One. Of course, guys. It's a big problem. No, the truth is the clubs, Milan, Juventus, Inter, these three clubs have given the Italian players a big fuck you, and this is why. This is the root. This is the root. Because Barcelona, guys, right now, as always, is building its players, its Spanish players, and it's helping the national team. As always. Right? Real Madrid builds millions of Spanish players every year, and they send them to all these different clubs. Is Berardi a scam? Absolutely not. Berardi, unfortunately, guys, Berardi was the man on fire yesterday. He was the man on fire. He's definitely the man of the moment in the Serie A. His form in the Serie A is incredible. It's out of this world. But it comes down to the mentality, because that goal there with open net, if he was playing against Milan at the San Siro, guys, Berardi would have scored that goal. If Berardi was playing in Serie A, day 12 of the Serie A, Milan San Siro, the keeper makes a mistake, gives Berardi the ball in front of the open net. Berardi scores that. But it's not just Berardi. It's not just Berardi. Berardi is not the only one that is supposed to score goals. Immobile. Where's Immobile? Insigne, his form is not good. His form is just not very good. Pellegrini had such an opportunity to score. He's in front of the goal. All he has to do is do a diagonal. That's such an easy goal for Pellegrini. And instead he tries to cross it in the middle. These guys are scared of scoring. They are scared to put it. They're scared to be the hero. And that is such a weird phenomena. The fear to overachieve. Donnarumma, guys, is a 100% is a clown. 100% clown. 100% a clown. His what he is doing, Donnarumma. There's no absolutely justification. His salary. There's no justification to his salary. There is no justification to his salary. Donnarumma should be making 4 million. Donnarumma should be making 3.5 million. He should not be making 10 million. This is absolutely craziness. Right now, I've lost a lot of professional respect for Donnarumma. Because if you want that kind of money, you have to do much better than what you're doing. Because as far as I can see, Magnan, who's making 3.5 million, is 4 times the goalkeeper that Donnarumma is. Not only as the man, the person, the human being, but as the professional and as the football player. So Donnarumma right now is in clown universe, and he stays there for as long as I don't know. Honestly, at this point, having Donnarumma, and guys, let me say this. This is honestly, you know what really pissed me off about that game yesterday? This is what really pissed me off. Every single time the Macedonian goalkeeper had a goal kick, the whole stadium shouting "Merda, merda." This is what kind of fucking people are you? This is classless fucking people. Like, it's embarrassing. It is you do not deserve to go to the World Cup. There is no class. This is a fucking classless people. Women, children, men, everybody. Every time the goalkeeper, merda. What the fuck is wrong with you? What the fuck is wrong with you? Disgusting. I'm ashamed of that. I'm ashamed of that. I am ashamed of that shit. For me, it's embarrassing hearing it on TV every time the goalkeeper takes a goal kick. I'm hearing the whole fucking stadium. It's not just one part; it's the whole fucking stadium shouting "Merda." What the fuck? What's up, Red Devil? How you doing, my man? All right, yeah. Let's hear what Red Devil's got to say. Lord have mercy, guys. Lord have mercy. Absolutely craziness, guys. Yeah, Joel. It's fucking. It makes the people of that country look like shit. And then you know what? I understand why when we have racist incidents, the whole country gets blamed for it. I'm starting to see it. Well, I've said that the culture in Italian stadiums is disgusting, but it's absolutely disgusting. It's embarrassing to me. This is no. People should not behave this way. This is classless. You know what? I'm fucking happy Italy didn't make the World Cup just because of that. Just because of that. All right, Antonio, what's up?
Yo, right, can you hear me?
Hey, what's up, my man?
How's it going? It's been so long. Um, Yesterday was pretty insane. I thought. I haven't been on the live in a long time, so I have like so many opinions about Milan and things like that. But after what happened yesterday, I feel like it's more appropriate to talk about Italy right now. So
Yeah, man, absolutely. What's up, G? How you doing, my man?
I'm doing good, buddy, man. So I've been meaning to come on for so long,
Oh, yeah, absolutely, man.
and I wanted to come on when to sort of be like, yes, Milan are so close to winning Serie A, the Scudetto, awesome, great. That's what I wanted to talk about. But I mean, yesterday wasn't good, Roy, at
No,
all.
no, of course not.
It wasn't. And I think that, I mean, all I can really say is I know that, okay, in context, Italy had, I think, was it 30 shots or something like that, so
Right, 30
um
shots.
so it wasn't like, they didn't have chances and
Yeah.
they were outplayed by Macedonia. At the same time, I do think that there was an element of arrogance.
Oh, yeah, of
There was
course.
an element of arrogance of them, just Macedonia, even though this is the same Macedonia that beat Germany in qualifying, that were organized, that got to this competition, and an Italian side that, if I'm honest, when I look back at the Euros, if it wasn't for likes of Spinazzola and Chiesa, I don't think they would have necessarily reached the final and potentially won the Euros. So the fact that those two players in particular were missing, I thought was a big blow. The fact that they still didn't really have anyone that was clinical in that squad. You know, I know Balotelli, I think, was called. I know he's a bit of finish, but maybe it would have been worth still having an additional striker there that could do some. I don't know,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's. I think it's when you're thinking like the last time Italy won the World Cup was in 2014. 8 years. That was when Buffon, I think, was 28 years old. And they're not going to be at this one. There's no guarantee per se they're going to be at the next one. what do you do? I don't know. What do you do with this? Because other teams around Europe are getting better. And
Well,
what do you do? What do you do?
well, one thing I want to say before I want to address that, and also Antonio, Antonio, I want you to talk about too. Interesting how this Macedonian player that scored. Check this fact out, guys. This Macedonian player that scored the goal against Italy yesterday. I don't know his name, but he was the same player that in 2018 scored the goal that sent Italy to the playoffs. So isn't that a crazy coincidence? This Macedonian player is Italy's worst nightmare. But addressing that question or that sentiment, I mean, honestly, they have to. I don't know. Is there an answer to that? Well, first of all, the clubs need to fucking start playing Italian players. That's it. Just, I don't see it.
Sorry, so but is the issue, because from my understanding, a lot of obviously of young Italian players are leaving Serie A. Like Serie A is almost becoming, not completely, but it's almost. I don't want to sound this to sound offensive because it's not what I mean.
Yeah,
it's almost becoming like the MLS of Europe, and I don't mean that in the sense of like this. It's not a quality league. I mean that a lot of the young and up and promising young Italian players are leaving Serie A. And a lot of the players that are coming to Serie A tend to be a lot of Spanish Premier League, sometimes Bundesliga.
Oh, in that sense, but that's not even new. That's been happening for a while.
Roy, after you respond, can I have like a couple things.
Yeah,
to
go
say
ahead. Antonio.
Yeah.
Antonio,
go ahead. I'm done as well.
Okay, no, thank you. I have just things to say about the Italian national team and also the Serie A. So personally, for the national team, by the way, like just in case like anyone was wondering.
Absolutely, sorry, Paul.
Yeah.
No, you're 100% wrong. You have to put them on the pitch, and that's where they fucking learn how to play, on the pitch. Okay? If you don't put him on the pitch, you don't know if they're crap or not. You got to put him on the pitch. All right, my bad. Sorry, Antonio, go.
Yeah, so I support the Italian national team. But personally, I don't think that we should be acting like the future is completely lost.
No,
because I mean,
absolutely.
okay, listen. Besides winning the Euros, if you watch the game, we completely dominated the game, and our problem is that we don't have a good number 9, or we don't have a way for us to. Once we get into the final third, like I watch teams like Man City that really dominate possession, and the way that they can move the ball quickly around and create opportunities to score, and the fact that also they're just amazing at finishing. That's something that, because we play a 4-3-3 with a lot of movement similar to Man City, even though it's not the same play style. But we need to then be able to break into the box and then create chances. So yeah, that's a problem. But overall, I think against strong teams in Europe, we play better because they're not going to be defending the entire game. So I don't think that we have a weak national team. I mean, but yes, I think we were extremely unlucky yesterday. Of course, we should have played better, but things happen. I don't think we should be panicking, although it is very disappointing. And then the other point about Serie A, I think this all goes back to money, because if players are going to be attracted to other leagues because they can get higher wages, like we've seen, what's happening with Kessie, what happened to Donnarumma. I mean, like, there's not much you can do other than just try to build a young team and move on. I think Serie A is doing solid right now. Although, because there's no way around the money issue.
No, Serie A is not doing solid, but keep on going.
Well, I mean, considering the fact that we're losing players because of how can you compete? Because there's no way around the money issue with Serie A.
You say that, but then you look at, for example, the Portuguese league, which doesn't have as much money,
Yeah.
And yet you could make an argument that certainly in the Champions League anyway, that
Okay.
Portuguese teams have progressed further than Italian teams have.
Absolutely, absolutely. Even the French teams. Even the French teams.
I would not say that the Portuguese league is better than the Italian.
It is. You have.
I disagree with
no,
that.
no. This is what we have to start doing as supporters of Italy. If you don't support Italy, it doesn't matter. But if you need to start being realistic. You have to start saying, "Yo, Italy is behind Portugal, is behind France, is behind Holland, it's
No.
eighth." This is the issue, Antonio. You have to start to become realistic.
Right. I can't agree with that. I mean, so okay, let's if we're gonna only judge based on teams' performances in the Champions League, that's
But whatever
can judge-
metric
you
is
can-
there? Whatever metric
Okay.
is there?
No,
I'm
it's-
looking.
go on.
Okay, I would
Yeah,
like.
go on, so go on.
Let me just give an answer, and then you
Yeah,
guys
go
can
on.
comment.
Ben, I want to hear G. Yeah.
So, if you say that, okay, if you're looking at the teams in the Champions League, then you're looking at the best teams in these leagues. I don't think you can say that overall these leagues are better than the Serie A. These
But
teams
what
have
does-
performed well. And
I
then
have
let me just say
sorry,
this. Also,
sorry.
this year, the Italian teams in the Champions League were Juventus, Milan, Inter, and Atalanta. Milan's group was extremely hard, and I think the way that we got eliminated was a bit like there were some moments, especially the Atletico game, that were difficult. And I think we played well, but of course we deserve to. Of course, teams like Liverpool are much better than us. I'm not saying that. Juventus, they were poor. Inter, I thought they played very well, and they got eliminated against Liverpool. But I thought over both games they were as good or maybe even a little bit better at times than Liverpool. And then Atalanta, yeah, they were also a little bit suspicious too. So I mean, I think that we're not in a horrible position, like as bad as you guys are making it sound.
No,
But we're
I'm
looking
talking.
at,
Okay, go ahead, G.
sorry, go on. So we're looking at trends here because you're focusing on this season, but we're looking at what's been going on. Like I think first and foremost, an Italian I'll start with the fact Italian team hasn't won the Champions League since Inter Milan in 2010. So that's almost 12 years ago, going on 13 years, and there's no indication that any of the Italian teams are close to competing for a Champions League in the next 2 or even 3 years, based on how things are. That's the first thing. The second thing is that aside from fair play to AC Milan and Inter sort of progressing. Last season, Inter Milan didn't qualify for the group stages. I think Atalanta did. Juventus, that was seen to be the domestic winners last season, got took apart by Porto. I think it was Porto last season. I think it was. Yeah, Porto last season, Portuguese team. And then this season, Villarreal.
And before that, Lyon. Before that,
Lyon. And this is and Juventus, technically, in court, is supposed to be the team that is supposed to be arguably the best in Serie A. So if arguably the best team in Serie A over 3 seasons has been taken apart by Portuguese, Spanish, and French teams.
And not even the top teams of those countries necessarily.
Yeah, exactly. So let alone if Juventus had played against Bayern Munich or Manchester City or Liverpool in their prime or anything like that. And then, of course, Italy didn't qualify for the previous World Cup because we again were talking about the same or similar issues that we're talking about now. The Euros. What I just don't know is that whether I don't want to say Italy's winning of the Euros was a fluke, because I don't think it was, and I think ultimately, they deserve to win the Euros. However, when I look back and review the European campaign, I look at least 3 matches where they got past that they took into extra time, 90 minutes, and I think they won two penalty shootouts, if I recall. One against England, one against Spain. Spain were actually really good, probably deserved to win. And the importance of players like Chiesa and Spinazzola can't be underestimated. So I just think that with Italy going forward, I don't know what the solution is. Whether it's they're not going to be able to compete in wages, but I also think that maybe teams, I don't know, maybe just relying on. I mean,
I told you what the solution is.
like
G. The solution is these clubs need to start playing Italian players.
well, yeah.
It's
So
very
so
simple.
so the that's what the academies. That's what I'm saying. Like, should there be more investment in the academy youth systems?
Not
That's it.
not investment, ideas and trust.
Okay.
Roy, whenever can I respond to that? Just this like topic about the city.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
So basically, if I can sort of understand, like,
Sorry, guys. And also, Red John is here. What's up, Red John?
Yeah.
You can
Yeah, Red John.
jump in whatever you want. right.
Yeah. So just so I understand, the main metric. Oh, we can't hear you, Red John. The main metric that we're comparing is Champions League performance, and the argument that is
you can throw in Europa League in there if you want. I don't mind both of them because it's relative. But sorry, go.
Okay, and the other thing is the realistic, like the chances of an Italian team winning the Champions League, right? That or the Europa League,
or be at least being competitive for it. So let's say a marker being getting to a semi-final.
Yeah.
You know what's the reality, Antonio? You know what the reality is?
Yeah.
The only chance Italy right now has to win any kind of international cup as far as club level is the Conference League. And that's even a maybe. But that's the only chance. That's where Italy is at. Conference is what? 8th spot, right? 8th spot?
Yeah.
That's more or less where Italy is.
So let me just with that being said, I still don't think you can say that the Portuguese and other leagues are better than Italy because realistically, none of those leagues are ever going to win a Champions League in the next coming years. And also, so let's actually talk about the teams that have a chance at competing every single year that are good, right? So Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea sometimes, and now they're kind of declining because of their situation. Like, we're not sure how good they'll be this year. Bayern Munich, PSG because of,
ignore those frauds. Don't even.
Yes, but like they're looked at as a big team, right? And then occasionally Real Madrid. Right now, Barca's on the come up, but Real Madrid occasionally, they'll go far, but we don't know if they're going to be able to win without, unless like we'll see how they look next year, and we don't know how far they'll go this year. Mm-hmm. They're kind of a wild card. So there are a couple teams. I think that those teams are like the strongest teams in the world right now. And they're very well funded, obviously, some more than others. But how can a handful of teams, 1 to 2 from each of the leagues, represent the entire leagues as a whole? And just using those teams that have the ability to go far.
That's the only metric that you can use.
Exactly. I think that's unfortunate.
We have no other way on.
You don't even need the Champions League, even the Europa League. Like aside, again, last couple of seasons, possibly maybe Atalanta when they've fallen in. What other Italian teams in the Europa League have progressed to the semi-finals, to the finals?
So I know,
and that's the second tier competition.
Yeah.
So I'm not arguing that because obviously that's unfortunate. What I'm saying is, I don't think that you can just say that, okay, League One, for example, which I actually really enjoy League One and because of their talent. I don't think just because PSG can go far in the Champions League that the entire League One is better.
Sorry, G.
So I'm saying PSG, ignore PSG. Take PSG out of the conversation just entirely. They're a separate case. But sorry, go on, Roy. Go on.
No, but you keep PSG in there because PSG is going to beat Juve. PSG is going to beat Milan.
That's one team, though.
But Lille fucking beat Milan.
Okay.
Don't you?
Lille
beat
Milan. The second game, we actually we basically, I think we tied the second game in the group stage.
Second game,
we went farther than
the second game. Lille was already through, but Lille came to the San Siro and they beat us heavily.
Okay. Lille is not a better team than us.
And remember, Lyon beat Manchester City in the Champions League to get to the semi-final. Not long 2 years ago. When was the last time again a Serie A team got to the semis?
But okay, it's also don't you like you have to also acknowledge the fact that there's a little bit of randomness in there because Leon was not supposed to go. Leon is on a better team than Man City. Leon was on a better team than I think. Oh, they did. I think they beat
but they
Juventus
won.
the year before.
They won, but I
The
could
game
say, well,
before.
I should easily sit here and say Villarreal aren't a better team than Juventus either. So what the hell happens this season? Getting spanked 3-0 at your at home. Arguably, Villarreal are not the best team in La Liga, and you got spanked 3-0 in your own home.
Let's also
First
add
of
this
all,
one
I-
here.
I laughed
Hold
at it. I was
on,
happy
hold
with
on,
it.
hold on.
Yeah, sorry.
And that one there, 3-0. That's a great example. But let's also not forget that Bodo Glimt, this Norwegian team. Are we forgetting about that one?
That's the history of Roma. Let's talk about Bodo
Okay,
Glimt.
as from a Milan perspective, let me ask you guys this: do you have any hope at all? I mean, not saying that Milan's going to win anything, but in Europe, but in the next coming years, like from what you're seeing right now, does anyone here have hope that Milan can start performing better? Like,
No, but listen, because I wasn't able to speak before. I don't know what was wrong with my headset. Like the way I see it, because if you look at how much every league spends, we are right there after the Premier League. So this cannot be a matter of money. It's not like Serie A
That's not true.
is a poor league because we consistently spend more than the Spanish, the French,
Yeah.
the Portuguese league.
In the transfer
Consistently.
markets, yeah, it is.
Every single season. So this is not a matter of how much teams invest or how much money there is at disposal for Serie A, but rather how we invest. Like Serie A teams don't invest in right players, and I think it's more a matter of ideology of the Italian football overall. Because this is the reason why old players, for example, in Serie A, they do well. You get a finished Giroud from Chelsea that warms the bench at Chelsea for 4 seasons, and before that 3 seasons at Arsenal. He comes to Italy, he's a starter because he's an experienced player. Like Serie A needs to take more risks.
Okay, so
Need to play more youngsters. Just take a look. Even the coach of the U21 of Italy said the players that we have in Italy U21, they get minutes of playtime. They are not players who play consistently, and this is a problem. And this is a problem that Italy has to tackle right now after the second World Cup in a row that they failed to qualify for. And this has happened before in other countries as well. Germany did the same. Germany got out of the group stage in Europe and did a whole revolution in the youth system, whole revolution of in the way teams think about young players.
okay, a couple things. If you say that,
Sorry, Antonio. I just want to say one really short thing, and also, great job to the Germans because that's all it took for them to revolutionize. Look how long it's fucking taken Italy. Italy should have done this revolution a long time ago. Anyway, come on.
And Roy, we are talking right now about a Germany team that doesn't really have world-class players, but they are still a unit. Like this is why I think Italy should do the same in a way. And I also read an interview of Capello who also said that Italy should follow, but Italy has to first start doing something. Italians cannot keep on saying it was luck. Cannot keep on saying, oh, it's one of those matches. You cannot keep on saying that. You have to change something. Do a revolution. It's time. Serie A has been trash for 20 years now, almost.
I just have a comment about the German national team. So, are you saying right now that the German national team is better than Italy, especially after the Euros, just because Italy had a couple of this poor?
No. The German national is better because they're proactive.
But what if they won? I mean, they won the 2014.
Now, listen, Antonio, I agree with you.
What have they won recently?
Antonio, I agree with you that this Italian squad, if they had the right something, honestly, Jorginho needed to score a penalty. That's it, and then we wouldn't have this discussion. It really comes down to a matter of inches, right?
Yes.
But there is a problem. The Serie A. Let's forget Italy for now. Italy failed, but the Serie A is doing so poorly, and it's such a long time. There's no proactivity to change this. Red John, sees it. I see it. G sees it. Everybody sees
Right,
it.
right. Let me make
But
this
you
clear.
don't. But you
Wait,
don't.
wait. Right. Let me make this clear. Of course, I've known, like, we've talked about the problems with the Serie A for a long time. Like, we've been on streams, like, when we'd all, like, wish for something with the FIGC to change. So, like, of course I see the problems. I'm just saying I don't think that the Serie A is worse than some of the smaller leagues that you guys are trying to compare.
But the thing is that it's comparative for the investment. So at the end of the day, like when I look at using the Portuguese league as an example, the Italian league spend far more money on wages, on players, on transfers, on investment than the
Yep.
Portuguese league do.
Exactly.
What does it
I
show?
think they're a better league
What does it show?
as a league.
The Portuguese national team is now. I'm not saying that's specifically because of the Portuguese league. The national team has performed better in recent years, but certainly in the Champions League and European competition, they have. So, like
that's a
they
fact.
clearly do. And to be fair, this season, Benfica obviously are through to the quarterfinals, and Sporting got spanked by Manchester City. Fair enough.
And,
Okay.
and
But
Porto
compared-
beat Milan twice.
Sure,
yeah,
but guys,
Well, we drew one game.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but the
Yeah.
problem is when you talk about countries who are a little bit smaller and outside of the top 5 leagues, you cannot really take the national team into account. Because take a look at the players that Portugal has and tell me how many of those players play in the Portuguese league.
Yeah.
You don't,
No,
and you cannot make this parallel for
No.
England or for Italy or for
No.
I don't know, Spain, because the vast majority of these players play in their home league. Now,
No,
Portugal is a different thing, and same goes for Belgium, same goes for Holland, same goes for a lot of countries which are smaller and usually outside of the top 4 leagues, right?
Yeah, no,
'Cause
exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. So it's there are obviously two different methods to success. Like Iceland, for example, don't even have their own domestic league, but they obviously do what they have to do. So you can either like export your players to other leagues, get them trained by other foreign leagues, and then they come back and play, and that works, like Kosovo, etc. Or you invest in it domestically. Personally, I think that the domestic investment in the long run, as you see with the success of Germany and Brazil, etc., or Brazil back in the days, is a better way of getting more return internationally. But there are two different ways of success. I just think it's a unique situation because they do invest domestically, but they don't invest it well. And then at the same time, like what's my point here? Like I guess what I'm saying is that like Italy are neither here nor there. Like then on the one hand, they invest quite a bit domestically, but don't invest it well. On the other hand, quite a lot of the players play outside, and they don't seem to get the quality from players. If that makes any sense, or if I'm making sense.
I just want to add so in this conversation we're talking about the domestic leagues like in Serie A, but also at the same time national teams. I would of course agree that the Serie A is a bit behind right now, but I absolutely disagree with people that are saying that the Italian national team is now somehow far behind others just because of this poor stretch of games and also unlucky situations that unfolded.
I don't think there is a I do kind of agree with Antonio, but I think there is a correlation. But nonetheless, we're not the club system is what we see every day. So
I think the issue is that this is the second World Cup in a row. That I think is the thing. If it was just a one-off, that's fine. It happens. But it's the fact that this is the second time and there's no guarantee. We're assuming, presumably, that in 4 years' time, when the next one comes on, you'll say that Italy will qualify. So if Italy don't qualify for 3 World Cups, but they play well, are we just going to say that Italy is still a force? Like,
listen,
that doesn't make sense.
I don't know.
I think. Listen, in my opinion, at least, the argument that the league makes the national team is a false argument, because in the league, and usually in every league, the best players are usually foreigners. Like, it's not even your own homegrown product, so to say. And also, the Premier League has been the best league for what, at least 10 years or something, if not more, 15 years, whatever. And if that was if this correlation would be true, we would see England dominate in the international field. Never. Like England has been consistent in failing in the international stage as far as the national team is concerned, right? So the correlation between the league and the national team is, in my opinion, is false. That being said, in order to improve the national team, you have to invest in the league, because there is no other way in improving the national team other than wait for the best amazing generation ever, right? You have to improve, and in my opinion, you have to change the way the league works.
You also have to have because in fairness to Gareth Southgate recently, so why England have been somewhat better in recently is that like he's managed with a couple of coaches, certain individuals, and they've played together persistently at under 16, under 18, under 21 level. So for me, I mean, I haven't watched Italy under 21s, World Cup under 18, etc. I don't know. Are they doing well at the under 18 level? Are they doing under 21?
No.
Are they trying to keep
They
it
lost
together?
to Montenegro today. So
It's one of the worst generations ever.
So that's in terms of consistency. You're right. I agree with that. That the correlation between league and something is it's just more from the financial investment going into the academies. But
guys,
you've got to say like a philosophy. But
I think we're missing the mark on something. The correlation between national team and club. In the national team, who's playing in the national teams? It's the domestic players from that league. So what I don't understand how investing more is going to give you more domestic players.
No, but
it's about trusting your domestic players and giving them the platform to succeed. But
that's on the international coaches for like. This is what I mean by having a core set of players. Not everyone, but a core set of players that have gone through. Your under 16s, under 18s, under 21s, etc. Because then when you have that, when you see that these certain players perform for you as a coach on the international stage, I've always been one for the fact that I don't think it's right to dump a player or exclude a player who has performed well for a manager on the international stage if in their league they've not been so great. Because you see with Gareth, we saw with Gareth Bale yesterday, where like he's not been picked for Madrid on form, in quotes. You could say that he should have not been picked for Wales. The guy turns to Wales and drops a 2-piece. So I just think that with Italy, like I'm not saying that you should exclude players that play in their domestic leagues. I'm just saying that maybe it's worth actually looking, building a philosophy and taking a core set of young players and actually building around them, rather than just picking different players from the different Italian leagues, and trying to haphazardly make it work. Does that make sense?
I mean, like when it comes down to philosophy, absolutely. Italy has to do something there. But to be fair, this is what Italy does. There is a core of players that start from the under 15s to the under 16s, 17s, 18s, 21, and then they go professional, and they kind of stay together for that whole course. That's usually the story of most national teams. They start from when they're teenagers. Yeah. But for sure, you're absolutely right. The philosophy of football needs
Germany won the World Cup because when they won the World Cup, let's be real, most of the players that were in that Germany squad played for Bayern or around Bayern Munich, plus or minus Dortmund and Real Madrid, but they did, and that's how they won the World Cup. So it's an option.
And if you take a look at the best teams in Italy, so to say, what is the Italian core that the best teams in Italy have? Take a look at the national team of Italy. We are playing Sassuolo, Lazio, Roma, and 1 or 2 players from Milan and Inter. This is the national team, right? And this is why I say that the league needs a revolution. When I say this, I don't mean it just as I don't know, just to say something. The league needs to take a look in the mirror and see that there are some problems. Why is Milan going and buying players in French? Like half of our team is French players. Why? Because it's impossible to buy Italian players because the prices are stupendously.
Why do Italian players cost so much? Like, what the fuck is this all about?
Because teams are out of their mind. Just take a look at Belotti. Belotti is the second striker of the Italian national team. Belotti was a promising striker when he was young. Teams were trying to get him. The owner of Torino wanted 100 million. He basically, in my opinion, because Belotti at the time wanted to leave as well, kind of destroyed the career of this guy. And this is the mentality of owners in Italy. It's like that. We are trying to get Berardi, for example, right now. Sassuolo wants 40 million for a player who has never played in the Champions League or even in Europa League.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
Teams
100%.
have to take a deep look in the mirror and reflect, because the national team right now is being carried by Sassuolo, Lazio, and Roma. Okay, this is the Italian national team right now. The top 4 teams have 0 players almost in the national team. Take a look at the team yesterday. There was 0 players. Florenzi from Milan, right? Florenzi from Milan, Bastoni from Inter, and Barella from Inter. And Barella, by the way, has been really bad this whole season. I have no idea why he started anyways, but whatever, right? And these are teams who at least leave week by week with the pressure of having to win. And this is, in my opinion, very important.
Yeah, absolutely. That pressure to having to win is something that a lot of these Italians are not experiencing. 100%. Yeah. Yeah. It's a damn shame. You know. But Antonio's argument is not wrong too. You know. A penalty, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Sure.
One penalty. One penalty is.
Or even a goal yesterday. It's
Or
not
a goal,
about
yes.
it's not about that itself. Get it? Like, I think I don't have to look at Italy failing to understand that Serie A has to do better, right? I have 38 games a year watching Serie A to reflect and to come to this conclusion. And Serie A has to do better overall. And the teams have to be less greedy with other teams other than Juventus as well, right? Because it's not Juventus the only club that can go and get an Italian player and buy him for a reasonable, so to say, price. Just open yourself up even for other teams. So Milan doesn't have to go every single goddamn summer in France to buy players, affordable players. Because it's impossible to buy in Italy.
That's what. So I was trying to say, like, I can see where you guys are coming from with the Serie A argument, but I still can't agree with you about the Italian national team yet. After winning the Euros and having these things happen, I mean, of course, in the future there are some risks because of the domestic league, but right now I don't think we're in we're at a point of tragedy.
I disagree, and I'm sorry to interrupt you again, and I'm sorry. At least I disagree with this, and I've had this debate with Roy as well about the Italian team winning the Euros. I understand Italy played really well in the Euros. They made a fantastic tournament. That being said, they also needed an extra time and 2 set of penalties in order to win.
But that's how football works. Sure, but it happens, and you're playing against the best teams in Europe.
And I agree. But
I want to say something about it.
But we are not talking about the team that went to Euros and dominated the Euros. We are talking about the team that, with the luck of the draw, was able to go from the semifinal into the final. And
I think they played the best football.
Well, I want to say something about
maybe Spain.
One thing that I think you're making a mistake, Rajan, is that you're looking at this Italy, the Italy that won the Euros, as an Italy that started there that summer. That Italy was a team that Mancini had built over 2 years, and in those 2 years, that Italy hadn't lost a game in something like 37. Actually, created a world record. So Italy was a very well-oiled machine. And a great group. It was a family, It was a great project. They won.
The problem is that the system in Europe is such that you play against Albania and you add numbers. Winning against Albania.
Okay, but that's okay.
It's a win. It's a win, but it's more
that's
a statistical win than a real win.
But that's wrong, because it's not just Albania, it's other teams too. It's other teams that are difficult to beat too. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what
Albania or Macedonia, right? I'm just saying bad teams.
I understand, but there's 35 other teams that you're forgetting, teams like Like I don't know what they are. We can go through all of them.
Luxembourg, San Marino, and all these things. Yeah.
We can go through all of them, and then you'll see that it's a very difficult task to win 37 games in a row. That team was a team of fighters, a team that was perfect. It was a perfect winning team. It was a team that would even beat teams that were better than them, because in Italy, the strength of Italy has always been il gruppo, il sacrificio del gruppo. That's always been Italy's strength, and that's what Mancini achieved. The issue is that they won. They ate panettone, they ate spaghetti, they ate pizzas. They are all stomach is full. Now they're arrogant. They lost the humility they had. So I'm sure that with a new Italy is going to be much more humble, and it's going to start all over again. I don't know if they're going to succeed or not, but whatever. But this is not going to kill Italy. It's disappointing, but it is what it is.
So on that note, can I just pose a question about Milan and domestically, like the Serie A again? So judging from, like, I guess if we're going with the argument that Serie A is a poor league and whatsoever, so does winning the Scudetto this year mean anything to you guys, or is it just like does that say anything about Milan, or like, and are you guys optimistic at all that we can grow in the next few years, or is it just in like nothing is going to matter because the league is so bad anyways?
But what do you?
Should I go first, or I don't know?
What can I just clarify? What do you mean by progression?
Growing as a team and doing having better performances in the Champions League. And I will say, because that is what we've been talking about is the Champions League. I will say that if we finish first, we will be a pot one team. So I think just because of that, we'll perform better overall. And if I'm looking at the group stage this year, Liverpool was amazing, obviously. Porto was actually played very good. Atletico wasn't too solid, and yet they found a way to beat us in the first game with some suspicious refereeing. And I'm not going to say that, because we do lack in the attacking department, at least in my opinion, especially in Europe. We couldn't really finish the game or get a big lead, but we did score one goal in the first game at San Siro, and then they came back and won off of a penalty kick, which was a little bit suspicious. And then we won the second game against Atletico. So I thought we weren't as bad as people made it seem, at least in my opinion. But we did not perform that well. But I think this year, if we have a better pot, and if things kind of, you do need a bit of luck every year, but of course you have to be a good team.
But the thing is, when you're talking about the pot, it again goes into the comparison with the different leagues. So yes, being in pot one, all that just basically means is like you don't face any of the champions.
Exactly. But it says nothing about your level. Exactly.
Second in, like, you look at the Premier League. Okay, second, City could win let's say City win the Premier League. Second place is Liverpool. Or, you look at La Liga, Real Madrid get first, Barcelona sort of the thing. So, and even I'm saying the Portuguese league, the Bundesliga, etc. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be drawn against.
Sure.
It's still going to be difficult if I guess my argument is that it's still going to be difficult if Milan don't invest well in the summer, and if they don't keep that level of sort of consistency. If they take this with the gas, I don't think it will matter. If that makes sense.
And I agree.
Yeah, it does.
And I agree 100% with you. And if I can give my 5 cents about your question, I think, and I've discussed this in this live many times and fought Dart and Roy about this. I think this season Milan is winning because the top teams overall got weaker. Okay, and I'm here to defend this argument until death. Okay, because I really think that. I think Milan did not really do the necessary investment in order to make the next step, but rather profited or took advantage of the fact that Inter lost the best coach in the league, their best striker, their best midfielder, and their best right back, right? So the Inter got totally annihilated, right? Juventus lost their top scorer, and Atalanta lost their top defender. and just take a look at where most of these guys went. They went to England and one to PSG, right? So Milan in itself is there to take advantage of the fact that others got weaker rather than Milan itself getting stronger. That being said, I think winning the league is very important, right? Because winning the league means you have a little bit more money from the sponsors and the investors and everything, so you can maybe afford to buy a player which you wouldn't have bought otherwise, right? So I think it's very important for us to win the league, and then we will see if we're going to make the next step or not. And making the next step means investing. And I understand that people are like, you should focus on the youth players. Not by investing, you don't guarantee that you will win something, but you guarantee to be part of the teams that can win something. Because take a look at Italy. Before the Champions League started, everyone knew that no Italian team would win the Champions League. It was just a given, and it's the only league in the top 5 leagues without a Champions League favorite, right? Every single league has one. Germany
Now the
France
Portuguese league doesn't have one, and the
but that's why I said the top 5 leagues.
yeah,
You know what?
But
You know what?
I'm
But
just
again, it goes to investment. If okay, here's a question. If the Portuguese league spent the same amount of money that the Italian league does on transfers and its academy,
okay.
would they be ahead?
They would be better.
Can I also
They'd probably
talk
win
about
the Champions League.
wages that are being paid too? Because I feel like a lot of our best players end up leaving because of wage demands. I mean, I'm like other teams. At least, I mean, we've seen this happen to Milan too. I think wages are very important here. It's not just about the transfer budget. That's how you attract players.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, Antonio, but you cannot take Milan as an example, because
But-
Milan pays super low wages. It's not
But-
Juventus.
Of course, of course.
Sorry. But this argument that you presented, it doesn't work because these players are going to Spain, are going to England. They're not going to Portugal. They're not going to Holland or wherever. Italy is below these. These are the countries that Italy is below, and this is what people need to start to accept. That Portugal is above Italy at club level. And, our players aren't going to Portugal to get better wages. So it's something else. It's not that.
Wait, but you just said, no, the point that you made about our players not going to Portugal, doesn't that support my argument? Because I'm saying that the leagues with the more money attract the best players from Italy.
Money is, honestly, the argument on money for me, as I even, this is my opinion. I said it earlier. It's not money. It's about trust. It's about ideas. It's about creativity. It's got nothing to do with money. Portugal, footballing wise, has evolved. They've evolved. France has evolved. All these countries have evolved. Italy has not. All these countries are playing football with the courage to win, while Italy is still playing football with the fear to lose. And this old mentality has not gone yet. It needs to pass, and we need to go into the next era.
Okay,
My opinion.
so let me ask you this. So based on, since we all watch Milan the most, it's the team to watch the most out of the Serie A. Like, from what you saw, or the way you guys see Milan playing, do you think Milan plays with fear? Or, I mean, because I think that we try to play attacking, and of course, we have our we do have to rely on older players.
I do not want to sound biased, and I'm not being objective here. I swear, I'm not saying this because I'm a Milan fan. I'm very objective about it. Milan is the only club that historically, traditionally, does not have this issue.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah,
So Milan is not going to be an issue. The issue is going to be Juventus, who is the biggest representative of Italy, that can't fucking beat Lyon. Because when Juventus has been there for 10 years now. Inter has been there for a while. Milan, we've fucking been lost.
Sorry, the other thing I even forgot to mention actually is also because we've heavily focused on players, but we actually haven't even talked about managers. And while I'm not saying that the Italian are bad, you could make an argument that some of the current world's best managers are not managing in Italy.
Yeah.
I
This
mean,
is a great
Conte
argument.
left. Conte
So-
left because of financial issues with Inter.
Exactly,
Is that not true?
so if
Yeah.
you're not even able to keep a hold of, I mean, the fact that Allegri went back to Juve, and so saying that the fact that Juve they hired Pirlo, and paid his coaching badges to take over one of the biggest jobs. He didn't even have his coaching badges before they offered the job. That's absolutely ridiculous. So the fact that I think possibly even maybe more so than the player recruitment is a major thing.
Yes. Gee, and I'm so glad you brought that up, because this is the one of the arguments I've made for many years. The biggest issue in Italy is the coaches. Okay, Conte. Okay, yeah, he's gone. But Max Allegri is not nowhere near a Klopp or a Guardiola or these other coaches. All our
But
coaches in Italy suck, from the
Yeah, but
first
guys-
one to the last one.
I'm sorry, but this argument cannot stand, at least not this season. This season, Italy has had the best coaches in the last 10 years. This season, you have Sarri, you have Mourinho, you have Inzaghi, you had Conte last season.
These are
coaches,
mid-level coaches, mid-level coaches.
Mourinho has won everything that there was to win.
But
Sarri-
Mourinho, yeah, and
Sarri-
Mourinho is going to turn Roma into a very good
Sarri-
club.
Sarri has won the Serie A and the Premier League and the UEFA Cup. I don't know. Inzaghi has won. Like, at least we are seeing some different coaches. That being said, I agree with you in the sense that Serie A needs to start getting foreign coaches. Enough with Italian coaches, and this I can agree with. But the problem is that historically, foreign coaches have not done well in Italy, and this is why teams have kind of given up in giving a chance to foreign coaches.
Guys,
Mhm.
really quickly, I have to head out. I just want to end off by saying, no, it's good to be back on. It's good to speak with you guys again. Especially Roy, G, and Reggion. I haven't seen you guys in so long. And yeah, it was a fun conversation. And I just want to say that I personally am optimistic about Milan, at least. Now, I'm not saying the whole league, but I think in the future, if we continue investing wisely and not making past mistakes, then I think we have a chance at doing better in the Champions League. So those are my 2 cents. Thank you guys.
All right, Antonio, thanks for joining us, man. It's been a while. Good to hear from you, man.
Yep.
Take care, buddy. Take care.
Later. What a mess, guys. What a mess.
This is why I think that the coaches are not necessarily the problem, the coaches themselves, but rather the way we pick coaches. Like, you have to start and get managers, just like in the Premier League. Take a look at the Premier League, and the best coaches in the Premier League are not even English. But they are rather they are rather the best coaches internationally. If you are a good coach doing good in Germany, I will get you and pay you just share a fee. And this is what Italy has to do right now. Take a look at the coaches who are doing well in Europe and give them a chance in Italy. But no, because the mentality is not there yet.
Well, not even doing well, but at the very least, up and coming, the ones that kind of have shown some sort of success. Because I think that's the key thing that that a lot of the leaguers and the Premier Leagues have done, is that they see a coach. It's not that, oh, this coach has won 5 Champions Leagues in a row. Oh, of course, it's going to be difficult to if you compete with Real Madrid to get that type of coach. Yeah. If you can identify a coach that has shown from the limited resources, for example, that he's had, that he can do well, and then now you're going to now give him. I mean, I'm trying to think of examples. An example would have been, let's say, before he went to Bayern, what's his name, Nagelsmann at Hoffenheim. What he did there, that would have been an instant when you could, where a Juventus could have gone, ooh, this dude is for what he's done for place, for the investment. Up and coming young coach.
I agree.
Well, we can pay more than Hoffenheim, so let's go in and get this guy. That's the type of thing that I'm talking about. And if you get those types of young and up and coming coaches that can ball, then I think that then you could see something, as opposed to trying to compete with managers that are already performing at the highest level.
I agree 100% with you. Yeah, I think this is the problem itself in Italy. But the reason why Juventus doesn't do that, it's not because they are not aware that he's a good coach, but because historically in Serie A, foreign coaches have failed. Therefore, teams have just given up somehow. Just take a look at the Roma with Fonseca. Roma took a chance to get Fonseca, a foreign coach. He was, in my opinion, doing well, man. Like, he had a good run with the team he had, and Mourinho right now is not doing better. He's doing worse than Fonseca. And yet, they just stopped the project, went in for another foreign coach who's more Italian than the Italians. Because this is the playstyle. The playstyle of Mourinho is more Italian than the playstyle of Italy itself, like genetically. So unless teams are more ready to adapt, it's going to be hard, because you have to somehow also have a good generation of coaches in order to have teams do well.
Yeah. There's definitely that generation of coaches definitely does not exist right now. Yeah, what are you going to do, man? I do kind of agree with Antonio. I'm optimistic, at least when it comes to AC Milan.
Yeah.
I think they're going to get it right. I think Maldini is a modern. He's more modern than these other guys. So
the only reason why I'm not super optimistic, not just because of by nature, right, is because there is so much that Maldini can do, man. Maldini cannot do the impossible, right? So after a certain, like, after you get near the top level, you have to start spending, because if you don't spend, you can never reach the top level. And if there's one thing that take, for example, Champions League winners have in common, it's they have spent a shit ton of money, including Liverpool, including Man City, even though they are going to win it this year, I'm pretty sure. PSG, everything that is favorites, they have spent money. So, in other words, spending money does not guarantee that you will win the Champions League, but not spending money pretty much guarantees that you won't win. So this is, in my opinion, the bottleneck here. That once we reach that sweet spot where we are right on the verge of becoming a good team, and you have to spend money, we will not be able to do that. And I'm sorry to say this, with us being top of the league, 3 points ahead of the second place, but we did not invest to win the league this season. We are winning the league this season. We
Right.
did not do the necessary investment.
But yeah, I mean, I have a lot to say about that, because there's a lot I don't agree there. So we could go in a very long conversation here. G, do you have anything to add to that?
I mean, I agree in the sense that, like, that yes, you know, that AC Milan are benefiting. I mean, Roy, you obviously seen what's happened to Inter Milan in the last couple of weeks, bottled after bottled after bottled after bottled. So it almost reminds me of La Liga last season, actually, where Barcelona and Real Madrid were so bad, and Atletico Madrid were also not great either, that the fact that Atletico won the league last season, it was like, okay, yeah, Atletico won it, but it was just because everyone, especially the big teams, were not great. So it was like, when people was like, yeah, okay, they won it, but yeah, it didn't really have any
well said.
Substance to it, as opposed to, say, like, Bayern winning their things, like, oh, okay, Bayern obviously won because they are the best team in the Liga, or City winning it because they're the best team, they're the most quality team, etc. It just felt kind of, it didn't feel indicative of the quality of the team of Atletico. Now, I think AC Milan is a little bit different, because I do think AC Milan have improved compared to last season. That's why I don't 100% agree, because I think they've become a lot more consistent. I even think they're also the first in the Champions League, and I think they played well. So you can definitely say that AC Milan have improved compared to the previous season, but it maybe appears to be more marked because of how badly the other teams are doing. I mean, I personally thought that AC Milan were going to win it, as Roy can attest on our on our preview, I think. Like
Yeah.
reacting to our preview. I think I was the only one that said Milan would win it, and Roy.
I said Atalanta.
You said that's yeah. We look some of those takes. I think we will look back
Right.
quite funny,
Yeah.
but yeah. So yeah, I think it's basically both is what I'm trying to say.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, staying on this Milan subject here, the way I'm seeing this team is being built with these youngsters that are youngsters and they're really just started their careers. Now they're 2 years in. And the way Milan is setting up its markets, this market and the next market and the next market, as long as these results start coming in, as long as they keep on making the Champions League and they can sneak in a Scudetto here and there to add a little bit more revenue, it looks like the way this team is being set up with the age, ratio, it looks like the future is always going to be brighter and brighter. So the way this team is being built does not give me the impression that Red John has of it being so difficult to achieve what they need to achieve. I think they're doing it. They've done it in the right way, and luckily, the scouts and the people there that are transmitting the idea of football is working. And you have these youngsters. And even though you guys are right, I do agree. Inter has definitely is gone weaker for some strange reason. Juventus is weaker too. And Milan has definitely had advantages over this. But regardless, this year the project was not to win the Scudetto. This year the project was to stay in the top four, and then next year I don't think we're going to have excuses anymore. Next year it's going to be Scudetto onwards. But as long as we keep on making the top four, we're going to keep on getting more money. Actually, this year, if we win the Scudetto and stay in the top four, that's 70 million extra that we wouldn't have gotten it. Yeah, so that's a lot of money. So I think that this is why I'm very optimistic about the Milan project. It looks like it's going to be a success.
Well, here's a controversial question, still on the thing. Do you think that Serie A, and I ask to even the people in the comments listening, do you think that Serie A needed the Super League?
Well, I was for the Super League. I
You were.
support it. Yeah,
You were.
I support the Super League. Yeah.
I mean, technically, Juventus are still in it, if I recall. I think they're not
Yes.
officially sort of gone out of it. So, but yeah, sorry, go on.
Inter, Real Madrid, and Barcelona. Juve, Real Madrid, and Barcelona are still pushing.
Yeah. So, do you think do you think so? Maybe saying Serie A isn't the wrong word. Do you think Italian teams, like our whole even argument, Italian teams, national team, etc. Do you think the whole being of Italian footballers who would benefit from the Super League? That's basically what my question is.
Yes. Yeah, I was definitely. Look, this Super League thing has been an idea that at least has been floating for almost 30 years, no, 20 something years. I remember in the early 2000s, Galliani, the previous sporting director of AC Milan, was already talking about it because of all these regulations that were being put in place. And they saw that they saw how this would have panned out in the future. And they said, this is going to hurt Italian football. And it is been, we spoke about money. You guys were speaking about money. Yeah, this is one of the reasons why Italian football is hurting, is not competing, because these regulations are not allowing these clubs to do what they want to do. So yeah, I definitely support the Super League, but not only because I am a supporter of the Superliga and of Perez, but because I don't like the fact that UEFA and FIFA are monopolizing football.
I agree. Go on.
I think that's creating this monopoly, and it's literally, even though the term governing body is a term that is used in sports, but that's what it really is. It's a government, and football is its citizen. So it's a very strange situation. That's why I support it. Yeah. What about you?
Or me specifically, or just?
Well, yeah, in general.
It's hard to understand as an EPL fan. Right?
Go on. As an EPL. I mean, I think it would have been detrimental to the EPL.
Yeah,
definitely. So whether it will have an impact on English football or not, I think remains to be seen. I don't think it would have personally. But I definitely think it would have been detrimental to the EPL because of how globally successful financially the EPL is. Whereas I think that I guess I think that with Serie A, with the money that would have come from it, I mean, if you were to assume that the Italian teams would still have been allowed to go stay in the Champions League and compete again, then I think it would have been a benefit. But if they were kicked out from the Champions League, but they were still allowed to play in Serie A, the money that those teams would have gotten, because the thing with the Premier League, I don't know if it's the same with Serie A, I don't think it is that there's obviously shared TV rights. So yes, you get a bit more prize money if you finish first, second, etc. But the main TV revenue is shared equally from every team from first to 20th. That's why, like, I think I read something ridiculous. Like the winner of the Serie A, for example, gets the same amount of money prize
As a
money.
team that relegates in
Yeah,
the
exactly. Which is insane because as fans, we obviously think about the trophy, but obviously if you're a business owner, you're like, I'd want to be in the EPL because even if I get relegated, I'm still going to get a 50 million or 60 million, whatever it is, payout. So that's good business. And a lot of championship clubs, what they do is they purposely like get promoted and then get relegated the following season and just do it up and down so they can just pocket that money and then just invest that elsewhere. So essentially what I'm saying is that I think the Serie A would probably benefit more than the Premier League, because I think the money from the Super League could go into those four teams and then they could therefore be more competitive in the Serie A, and then they could build on that in the Champions League and so forth, while by paying these high wages that we're talking about, by recruiting the best managers and so on and so forth, assuming that they could still play in the Serie A. Well, I don't think it'd make that much of a difference in the Premier League, given the amount of money that is in there already. Am I making sense?
Yeah. Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
but whether or not it will be a reality, it remains to be seen. So, but I don't know.
I mean, for me, at the end of the day, even if the Super League, I mean, what happens? Let's say we get the Super League, right? And we buy the best players. La di da. Wow.
Yeah.
You won because you win you got the best players.
Mhm.
I want at least I want Milan to be the team like what Barcelona did. You create the best players. So, in all honesty, I don't think Milan or Italy needs the Super League. All right. I think what Italy needs is better ideas. Be more creative. Do something. You don't need to spend 80 million on anybody. You don't need to do that.
Well,
You
I mean,
can
the
you can
greatest.
sp-
So I'm gonna say the greatest example currently now in the Premier League is Liverpool. When you could go back and see how much they spent, they used the 120 million that they signed that they sold for Coutinho to buy Van Dijk and Alisson. But outside of those signings, they spent, I think, was it 40 million on getting Salah?
yeah.
They spent under 30
No,
million to get Mane.
Yeah,
Sorry, go on.
but Liverpool has spent a lot. Like, we are not talking about the team that has spent. Maybe they haven't spent as much as City or as much as Chelsea, but they have still spent a lot of money.
But you know what, Rejan,
we are still. Yes.
Rejan, sorry, but you know who I don't know. I don't know. I can't say this for a fact, but either they're close or they spent more. You know who spent more? Juventus.
Milan or Juventus. But listen, Juventus has spent like. All I'm saying is that if you spend money, does not mean you will spend right. So you have to have money, spend money a lot, and also be good at spending money, right? Because
but the point is,
I agree. I agree with that.
saying, but what I'm trying to say is that Liverpool is the example of the EPL of a team that does not spend a lot of money. And then you look at the transfers of Liverpool, and they spend a shit ton of money, man. They just spent 60 million for Diaz right now, 50 million for Konate, 50 million for Mane back then. I don't know how much for Alisson. So we are still talking about this kind of teams. And then you take, as a counter example, Milan, for example. Milan spent last summer 70 million. But 70 million for 10 players. We got 10 players for 70 million.
But,
do you
but
see
you
the
have
difference?
but you have to understand that, like, if you start back from when Klopp was actually went at the club, and the signings and the things that he made, because bear in mind, again, when he came, where did he take Liverpool? Liverpool weren't regularly qualifying for the Champions League. Liverpool weren't regularly getting first, second, etc. So naturally, the money that Liverpool then started to get from regular and deeper performances in the Champions League, from better performances domestically, from the sales that they made, because like I said, they sold Coutinho for 120 million, and a few of the other players, Suarez, well, that was earlier, but I can't remember, Sturridge and a few other players that they meant to make the books. They don't pay their players an excess amount of wages compared to other big teams like Real Madrid, PSG, etc. And to be fair to Liverpool, when they made those signings, they've often bought players that were not particularly seen as big players, that they made big players. They paid, like I said, 30 million for Saul when he was at Fiorentina. Mane from Southampton was, I think, even less than 30 million. And they've been
Salah, they got from Roma as one of Roma's best players, and they.
I thought they signed him from Fiorentina, wasn't it? Was it Roma?
He played with Fiorentina as well, but then he went to Roma for like 3 years. But what I'm saying is that if you take a look at the players that they have bought, you can see they have spent a lot of money in the sense. Benteke 50 million, Firmino 41 million, Klein 30 million.
Yeah.
Wijnaldum 30 million.
What I'm trying to make is that
41 million.
But what I'm trying to make is that spending that money, that investment, it was incremental. It wasn't that, like, as soon as Klopp came, he was given a 200 million pound war chest.
Oh no, I agree.
It was incremental based on ultimately the performances that Liverpool Klopp achieved. Because relative to the other teams in the Premier League, they didn't do that. So why I'm trying to make the Milan link is that, like, likewise, if Milan incrementally sort of get better, they have the consistency in the top four, they improve slowly but surely in the Champions League, then the money that can be generated from that can go into at least a 30 million Salah type or Mane type player, i.e. a player that's not necessarily at their peak there but has the potential to go through, and you match that with a good coach, and that's how you build. That's kind of why I use Liverpool as an example of, like, a team that they started at the, I won't say at the bottom, but they started near the bottom, but incrementally they got where they eventually are now able to spend more money than they used to when they were like mid-table and bench around. That's kind of what I'm trying to say, if that makes sense.
I understand, but I
agree with what you said. Yeah.
To be honest, I don't know when the time will come that Milan will be able to afford 260 million players in one season, or 350 million players in one season, because Liverpool has done that since 2017, since 2016. Get it?
Well,
maybe in the future we will be able to spend, I don't know, 62 million on Alisson, 60 million on Keita, Fabinho 45, Shaqiri 20 in one season. I don't think we will do that ever, as long as our revenues are like this, or as long as Serie A gives you this much money in TV money.
Right? I think that obviously in England, they're always going to have more spending power, obviously, because of the situation is. But I think relative to the competition in England, based on what the other teams have spent, it is a good example of showing how, ideas win you games, ideas win you football. A coach like Klopp, You know, he can turn a team that is cheaper than the teams that have spent more in that country. He can turn that team into a Champions League winning team, into a team that is one of the best teams in the world.
Yeah. I've
You
got
know?
no doubt if Klopp went to Italy, he would do like he would be successful. You know, so like if so long as like he felt that he was getting support, not necessarily financially, but just from a philosophical point of view, I want you to get this type, because a lot of time it's not necessarily about spending, like I said, this is what trying to say about spending 60 million on the in the no player. It's about spending money on a player that's right for the particular philosophy that you want, and that might be a player that is 20 million that somehow plays for Lyon,
Right.
opposed to 100 million from Haaland.
Milan right now has a player. I don't know if you know him. His name is Kalulu. Have
Yes,
you heard of this?
yes, I heard a clue. Yes, yeah.
Milan paid 400,000 for this player.
Mm,
Right now, if you want to buy Kalulu,
mm,
if any team wants to buy Kalulu, Milan can ask for 25 million,
yeah.
because they identified the right kind of player
Mm.
that would perform in the club, that had the right mentality and had the right attributes. So, you know, there's examples that are as crazy as that one that can show you that.
Yeah, in Leicester City and Golo Kante, you know, signed him for about the same 400,000 from I think it was a La Liga 2 team, and in that next season he wins them their first Premier League title. You know, so
Yep.
well, amongst other things as well. So yeah, that's essentially what I'm saying. I'm like, you don't have. My ultimate point is that like you don't have to spend. It can be incremental. You know, identify the players with a good scouting a system that can work in your system by backing your manager, and then using the money that you get from your consistent finishes in second place, for example, or first place in Milan, and your better performance in the Champions League. You can slowly but surely invest in better players, sell some of the players that on who for a profit, and then that's how you can build. That's essentially what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think Milan can do that. I think a lot of Italian clubs could do that. Yeah.
Rather than just spending, because what Italian clubs are doing now is right. I'm now going to spend the same amount of money, if not more, on players that are near retirement,
Right.
but also have high wages. Because the other positive about younger players or up and coming ones is that they often don't demand high wages, but you're spending money on players that are out of their peak, but they also demand high wages, which is going to then therefore limit you to get better. You know, that's like coming up with the Liverpool example is that a lot of the players when they signed them initially they were not on high wages, and so that you know you can afford to spend sometimes 60 million on the player if that player is earning less than £100,000 a week. Whereas, of course, you know, if you're spending like 20 million on a player, but you're spending 200k a week on wages, it's just as bad. Let alone if that player is like 40, is also approaching 40 years old.
Yeah.
It's no best for your money, you know.
Yeah, and I think, and to Red John's credit, you did say this earlier, Red John, that Italy is, after England, is the country that spends the most in the transfer markets. So Italy is spending money. And you also said, like you just said, it's going to these players that are experienced, that are of a certain age, and you know, and these wages are crazy. Yeah. So when it comes down to this argument, you know, we just have to accept that Italy is behind. They are behind, and you guys accept it. I see that you guys accept, but a lot of people don't accept it. We just need to accept it.
That's fair, Roy. I've got to head off, man. But thank you for having me on the channel, man. Again, I appreciate
Hey,
it.
G, man, thank you. Hey, dude, anytime we're live, just jump in, man. Jump in. You don't even need to ask, man. Just jump in.
I will. And definitely. Well, I was gonna say because I think that aren't they doing the full World Cup draw next week? I think they are, because I think all the qualifiers will be finished by the beginning of next week, I think. So I think they might be doing the official World Cup draw next week or the week after.
Gotcha.
So it'd be good to have a reaction to that, even though unfortunately Italy aren't going to be part of it.
that sounds like a torture, my man. That sounds like a torture. But no, anyway, go ahead. Yeah.
Right. Well, take care, guys. Take care. See you later. All the
All right,
best.
G.
Take
Have
care.
a good
Bye.
one, my man. See you. Bye. All right, Red John. What a disaster. What a disaster.
Yeah. I think no one was expecting Italy to lose against North Macedonia, to be honest. So,
Yeah, I honestly did not expect it. I mean, I knew that it could happen, but I was expecting them to score. Berardi, man, he had so many opportunities. Oh
and
my God.
he had an opportunity with an open goal. Like, I don't know what he was doing there. He
Yeah.
passed the ball to the keeper. Like, are you kidding me? In the most important game of the season for Italy, that's crazy.
Right. Even Pellegrini had a moment there that he should have just taken the shot. Whatever. It is. It is what it is. You got to move on and whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, Rajon, what else is there? How's it
I don't know.
how's it going in the chat, in the WhatsApp chat? Are you
I
guys?
haven't read the chat in a while now, so I have no idea.
Oh, okay, got you. Well, one other thing I wanted to say regarding this whole international qualification, it's like, why the fuck is Italy playing Turkey? Like, what's the point of that game? Do you know about this?
It's a friendly, right? This is just absurd. I have no idea. It's just absurd.
And you know what Longoni had a piece about this, and he brought up a great point. I don't know if you saw it, but
I haven't seen it.
Longoni, guess who's going to be playing against Turkey?
Scamacca, Belotti, and this kind of stuff, or
Well,
the same formation.
No. He was talking. Is talking about Milan.
Ah, okay.
Tonali. We don't need Tonali to be playing against Turkey. This is the most useless game in the world. Barella played played the important. We should have played Tonali first of all against Macedonia. But now Tonali is probably going to play a full game against Turkey. For what reason? What purpose?
This is the most pointless game. Haven't they even removed this from the European and World Cups? Like, for the third place, no one gives a shit who wins.
Right.
Third place.
Exactly.
This is absurd.
Absurd. Well, like, what's the point of this? Imagine if, oh my God, knock on wood and do whatever, but imagine if Tonali gets injured from this stupid game.
It's just a pointless. It's a pointless game. Like, he should play the U21s there. Give them a chance to play against grown-ups.
Yeah, I agree, 100%. Yeah, use the youngsters.
Because the youngsters are not being used anyway from their main team, so might as well give them some game time.
Yeah. One cool thing that I was looking at is, out of all of this negative shit, there is some positivity. Like, for example, I don't know if you're watching earlier. France was playing.
Yeah.
And
Theo and Giroud.
Yeah, Theo and Giroud are kicking ass. We're kicking ass.
Did they win the game in the end, or did they end 1-1? Oh, 2-1.
2-1 for who?
For France. They were playing against Ivory Coast. So
Yeah.
Cassis.
Right, I saw Cassis. Cassis not too good.
Yeah,
Cassis not too good.
Like, he's a Barca player now, so.
Right. But Theo was looking fucking. He was playing some serious football. So, who do you think? What do you think Mancini is going to do after this? Do you think he should stay, or do you think they should?
The problem is, Italy has a problem right now, to be honest, because they don't even have. What's the option? Like, I've heard some absurd names, man. Lippi and Cannavaro. Like, what are they talking about? Like, there are voices about Lippi and Cannavaro becoming the coaches of Italy if Mancini leaves. Like, what? The Lippi? Like,
Lippi is
have they
minestra
lost their
riscaldata.
mind? Have they lost their mind? Like, I have no idea, man. So if Lippi and Cannavaro are the alternative, I would much rather have Mancini. Even though normally, if you fail such a big objective, you should also uh, handle the responsibility of failing such an important uh, objective, right? So you have to resign. Mancini normally should resign, and everyone should accept his resignation, right? But if Italy thinks about this, that fucking Lippi, man, and Cannavaro are the answer, then they have not learned the lesson.
Yeah, the Lippi thing for me is strange. Cannavaro, I don't know. I mean, Cannavaro's been coaching for a long time, and he's doing really well. But in China,
Yeah.
very different kind of pressures. I don't know, a very different level. I'm assuming. Lippi is in Italian. There's a saying "minestra
Yeah.
riscaldata," and that's what it seems like. Yeah,
Cold soup or cold,
yeah, a
yeah,
warmed
whatever
up.
you call it.
Right.
Yeah.
Then there's the idea of Ancelotti. Maybe that's good. I think that'd be better. But yeah, we got Vasil. Vasil wants to join us. I haven't seen Vasil in a long time.
Yeah, man. I guess Vasilis had other stuff to worry about, right?
Here he is. Oh, yo, Vasil, man, how you doing? It's been a while.
Wait a second. Let's say I have two things going on. Here we go. Can you guys hear me?
Yes. How you doing, my man?
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
I'm doing great, man. Seeing all
Good.
those dead motherfucking Russians, man, gives me a joy, man.
Oh, damn. How are you living the situation, man? You're in the States, right?
Yeah, I'm in the States, man, but my whole family is back home, man. Just a second, I'm cooking something. I'll come back just a second. Oh, shit.
All right. Red John, did you see that Broya might be joining Milan? Are you happy about that?
Yeah, I would actually like that, to be honest. Of course, I'm biased as fuck, right? Because I just want
Oh, okay.
someone from Albania playing for Milan, right? But I also think the guy is really good, man. Like, he won
He is.
some very important games single-handedly, like Albania versus Hungary in
Yeah.
the qualifiers for solo. He just got the ball and scored 2 goals. So it's like, I think he's a really good player.
Yeah. Let's see him, man. So what's going on? Tell us. What's going on.
So what I was saying, well, yeah, my whole family lives there. Besides, like, my parents that are here, my brother, the rest lives in Ukraine, most of them. So when this whole shit started, man, I mean, I got woken up like at 2 a.m. that day, the 24th, by a friend of mine who has like 2 kids and was running from Kiev with 2 kids and her mom. She literally grabbed whatever she could, got in the car, and just drove for like almost 2 days to Polish border, and then from Poland I helped her to get to Czech Republic. I know some people, and then from there she got to Netherlands. Then my cousin's wife with like a 2-year-old kid went to Germany, but he's staying because he's obligated, and my nephew is staying. So they
What do
are
you mean by obligated? They have to stay there and
Yeah.
for the army?
any man age 18 to 60 is obligated to stay. You cannot leave country. So they are over there. I have some friends that are actually fighting, like fighting, not just in staying in their towns where they're from. They're actually part of military that is fighting. Couple in Kiev, couple in the south. I have one friend that got injured, but he's alive. Yeah, man. It's fucked up, man. It's fucked up. But you know what?
Is your family close to the area there or not?
No, my family. I'm actually from western part of Ukraine. I'm closer to like Romania and to Poland.
Gotcha. Okay.
But I mean, like, they still bombed, man. They still bombed like Lviv, which is all the way in the west. I mean, they were bombing big cities.
How far are they? Yeah, how far are they bombing the cities? All the way to
all the way,
west?
they almost hit Poland one day. Like there's like 10 days ago, there was an instance where it was like 5 miles away from Polish border they were bombing. So
Wow.
they are
And what are they
no-
targeting there in the west? Why?
usually airports,
Ah,
military bases, but that was first couple days. Now they're shooting I mean, I don't know if you saw the images. They're destroying everything. They're fucking, they're nowadays 21st century Nazis. Those piece of shits, motherfuckers, man. Like,
And-
they're killing kids. They just whatever they're talking in their TV that they're just bombing military assets and stuff like that. They are fucking bombing cities, like destroying cities, like straight up. So
that's
my
that's
thing,
awful.
my thing is, man, that it's after this war, the world will change completely, like completely. Like it's
Where do
already
you
changing.
where do you think this is going? Like how like where is this? Where is the conflict right now? Which stage is it at? Like what's going on right now?
Stage is we started counterattacking, like in Kiev, around Kiev. We started since yesterday. We started taking back some towns. In the south, it's very difficult, but I think the plan is to destroy them in north first, and then move south and like clean it up, whatever is left. Because I mean, they lost a lot of soldiers. They're estimating roughly around 16,000 dead Russians, and usually with one dead, there's about 2 injured. Usually 2.5, sometimes 3. So they're saying about 50 to 60,000 are out of commission, so to say, out of the 200,000 that came into Ukraine. I think there's a couple scenarios, man. It could become like a long war, not. It's just kind of like stationary war. That's one option. Second option is we're just gonna fight them, and they are slowly gonna lose they already lost the ground, man. I mean, like they are not advancing anywhere really. Like they got one kind of big city in the south, like about 150 to 200,000 people that live. That's about it. That's the only big city that they could conquer. And then even in that city, there's a lot of resistance. So whatever Putin was thinking that when he will get in here and we're all gonna be standing there with the flowers and fucking praise him, that's a big mistake. Like Putin doesn't live in reality, man. He lives in his own world where they give him like I feel like because he doesn't use social media, he doesn't have none of that, so he's like an old school KGB dude. He gets like briefings every morning, and who knows what information they're giving to him, man. They probably told him, hey, you invade them, Ukrainians, regular Ukrainians, just gonna love you and like they're gonna welcome you with open arms. Fuck you, no, man. Nobody's gonna welcome you with open arms, man. Like my generation and younger, we're living in independent Ukraine. I don't want a fucking Soviet Union, man. Like, yes. and all of my friends the same. They think the same. Like people would rather die, man, than go back under Russian rule. And they definitely underestimated us. They thought that we were some kind of pushover. They forgot one fact, man, that we've been fighting them for the last 8 years. We have over roughly saying there's different stats, but about half a million soldiers that went through war, through active duty with military experience. I mean, and you look at those Russian kids, I mean, they're sending 18, 19, 20 years old that never seen, probably first time out of their town, man. And they've tried to fight these dudes that have been fighting for 8 years, that have a lot of experience and equipped, and they're really well equipped. Like our military is compared to Russians. They're calling themselves second army in the world. Give me a break, man. The only reason they're second army in the world is because they have nuclear weapon. That's it, man. There's nothing scary about these fucking Russians, man. Nothing. Like nothing, man.
And I guess this is I don't know how you would answer this question, but like what do you think it's going to end anytime soon, or do you think
man it's man, I mean, any person with logic would end it. If Putin was normal person, he would end it because they're losing a lot of soldiers, and if he cared about the soldiers, he would stop the war and find some kind of agreement. But he doesn't give a shit about regular like average Russian. Like there's a saying in Russian, who cares about soldiers? Women will give birth to more soldiers. That's a saying that still comes from Soviet Union, man, from World War II. Those generals that are brought up or trained kind of under Soviet Union, kind of, I don't know, whatever you want to call, that's the mentality. That's the way they think. Our military is different. We care about our soldiers, so that's why we kind of we fight smart. We ambush them. We obviously we know where we are. We know every little small street because people are fighting usually from a local towns that know the area in and out, and Russians don't know shit. They're not using GPS. Their logistics is all fucked up. Like they're like living tanks and armored vehicles because they don't have gasoline, diesel. They run out. It's very poorly planned, special operation as they call. Very poorly planned. Very, man. I mean, it's laughable actually. They're just going in the lines, and what we do, we just bomb them.
Now you said like they come to some sort of agreement, but what kind of agreement?
The only thing I can see if we tell them that we're not going to join NATO, I think that's the only thing that we're willing to maybe work around, but nothing else, man. If they continue telling us, you have to get rid of your military, all this other shit they were talking, like we're not going to agree, man. So there's going to be a lot of fight. So it's up to Putin, man. If he doesn't care about his people, we're just gonna continue killing Russians, man. I mean, it's gonna turn into guerrilla war, and I think some of those guys, some of those generals, slowly start to understand because our special, like kind of like CIA, but Ukrainian equivalent, like they've been like what do you call that? Spying on a lot of those phone calls that they're making. Because we have a lot of equipment from United States, from England, like the most advanced compared to like Russian spy stuff. So, and they're posting it on YouTube. So you hear like conversation of regular soldiers, of like, of people that are like, like, surgeons and major and stuff like that. And and lately they've been catching like the mood of these people is like, what the hell are we doing here, man? They're killing us like left and right. Why are we fighting this war? But
really?
Really?
Oh
yeah. Some of it. Like I don't think it's all Russians, but some of them start to like realize, man. Or they're like conversation where this guy calls his mom and say, "Mom, out of 600 soldiers, only like 70 soldiers left." Like and like how can you fight the war like that when you don't have equipment, your logistic is all screwed up, and and you're fighting highly motivated people that are ready to die. Like for their land, you invaded us. We didn't come to your house, man. We're gonna fight to the end, man. So that's the bottom line, man. And if needed, man, Ukrainians that live in outside of Ukraine are gonna start coming. There's some already that are coming to fight. So if needed, bro, I will go there, man. Like no if or buts, man. Like if needed, like if they say we really need your help, fuck yeah, man. I'm already helping in other ways, but if they need us to do military stuff, we'll do military stuff, man.
So
Yes?
how far do you think Putin will take it?
Shit, he's crazy, man. I wish I would have an answer for you, man. He's crazy motherfucker, man. I honestly don't know. Like when you deal with the crazy person, how you supposed to, like, it's hard to predict, man. It's very hard to predict. That's the problem here, but I think like now, like a couple weeks ago, I was thinking this could be like freaking long ass war, but now I'm thinking because of sanctions and Russians are starting to feel it now. It takes a little time for sanctions to start working. They have shortages of a lot of things already. All the major brands moved out, like all Western big brands moved out of Russia. So that's, first of all, they're losing a lot of jobs because they were employing Russians. Secondly, a lot of their stuff that they actually produce in Russia has components from the West, majority like technological stuff, especially like high technology. Russians don't. I always told Russians like, okay, if you think you're so great and shit, you're talking how great you are. So if you, like, look around you in your house, what is produced in Russia? Can you show me something that's Russian made and you're proud of it, besides your oil and your fucking gas? They don't have anything. You cannot give the world. Russia cannot give anything to the world that we cannot live without. Let me put it this way. So they don't have the bargain. The oil, we're gonna work with Iran and get the oil from there, man. I mean, there's ways to go around it. So if they thought they'd like, oh, we're gonna like destroy Europe because we're gonna just cut off the oil supply, yeah, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be fucking hard, but it's gonna get done. And that's what's happening right now, man. And they've been giving sanctions to all those oligarchs, those rich, corrupted Russians. They're taking away their yachts, their houses in Europe. They're freezing their accounts. And, for them, that's the worst, man. For those rich Russians, so they slowly start to like, okay, what's going on here? Like, why are we fighting this war? They start asking questions, man.
Rejon, you're about to say something?
No, like it's exactly that. Like, because these rich oligarchs are basically Putin's main circle, right? So when these guys start to feel the war or the consequences of the war in their daily life, meaning their accounts are frozen, they cannot live the life that they used to live up until now, right? They start asking questions, and they are stakeholders in the Russian government by logic, because they are oligarchs. So when they start asking questions, then it becomes harder for even Putin himself to just ignore the fact that this war makes no fucking sense. In the 2022, in 2022, we have a war in Europe. It's fucking embarrassing. So I hope he comes to his sense and gets the fuck out of Ukraine, which is a senseless war in itself, which makes no sense with the year, with the logic, with the moral standards of people in this century, in this year.
It's unbelievable, man. It's unbelievable what's going on. But that's why I said this is a new world order is happening right now. New history is happening right now, because once Russians get pushed back, which I strongly believe, unless they use a nuclear bombs, man, that's the only way. Because we're not giving to them our country, man, no matter what.
I don't think they would do that.
This is exactly what I fear, in the sense that because Russia started invading as a statement, if they back out right now, they are basically done. Like, no one is going to respect Russia as a military superpower after that. And this is exactly what's super hard for the West, for Ukraine, and for Russia itself. Now you have to somehow find a way so Russia backs off, but without looking like a total fucking loser. Get it? Because
and that's for him it's the worst. But
exactly,
like it's gonna at some point, man. The regular Russians, because all those dead bodies, they're not picking up a lot of their dead bodies from the fighting fields, man. They're just laying in our, like, pretty much like rotting in our land, a lot of them. And but they started sending a lot of those dead bodies. And first week they're saying they haven't lost anybody, which was a bunch of bullshit. Finally, second week of the war, they're like, yeah, we lost only 500 people, which was big bullshit. And like now they cannot hide it anymore, man. They cannot hide this, because like the bodies are gonna flow in, like start flooding the country. And that's when I hope regular Russians will be like, what the hell is going on here, man? Like, why there's so many dead people? They're saying that we are winning the war, but we are not, I guess, So hopefully that will help at some point, but I don't know, man, to be honest. That's why I said it's hard. It's hard to freaking predict, man.
Earlier, you said if they come to an agreement regarding NATO, what's that all about? The NATO thing?
They don't want us to join NATO. So, and I think there are talks that we might be willing to like accept that, but not the other stuff that they're talking about. So there's still a lot of work to do.
and this with NATO, I think, can be the somehow the solution which makes Russia not look as bad. Get it?
Yes,
Because-
exactly.
Because even though Ukraine is a sovereign country and they can think for themselves and make decisions from themselves, the NATO thing is kind of weird because just imagine right now if Russia goes to gets a fucking deal with Mexico and they put Mexico in a military program which is with Russia as well. The United States are never going to let that happen. Get it? Because it's too close to home. Get it? But the problem here is human rights, and Ukraine has the fucking sovereignty to do whatever the fuck they want with their country without asking their neighbor if they should do it.
And let me ask Vasil, what is the sentiment in Ukraine regarding NATO? Like, do the people of Ukraine want to join NATO, or they're like, no, we don't care, or what's
I think, man, like I think it was kind of like I would say majority were they wanted to join NATO, especially last 8 years, but the way NATO has been behaving all this whole month, you know, a lot of Ukrainians, regular people, not politicians, they're like, what's the point? I mean, the like the problem is, man, this whole problem actually could have been avoided a long time ago, but West is fucking weak. That's the problem, man. Like, there's
how so?
Because they allowed Putin to annexation of Crimea, then the war on the eastern front of Ukraine for 8 years, and there, those sanctions that they had 2014, that's a bunch of bullshit. It's not real sanctions, man. They didn't do real damage to Russian economy the way they're doing it right now, obviously. But now they put like real strong sanctions. But at that point, when we're 2014, 2015, they could have done more to kind of tell Putin, hey, listen, man, like enough is enough, man. Like hold your horses. But they didn't, so that gave him more confidence. He thought like, oh shit, look, like now I'm the star and I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want to do, because nobody's gonna say no to me. And West is scared of me. There's no leaders in the West right now that have balls. None. I mean, I kind of like the UK guy. He's funny and he at least says it the way it is, and he's been always like that. But the rest is always like, oh no, we don't wanna, there's gonna be war. I get it. But at the same time, there's a point in life where you have to say enough is enough, man. Like, seriously, man, to the bully. You cannot just be like, oh, if we do this, then we'll have this war. You know what? That's what Putin is counting on. Like, that's for him, that's like exactly what he's doing. Because West, if we had Reagan or somebody or Churchill, man, from back in the day, those motherfuckers with steel balls, they'll say, fuck you, man.
No,
what the fuck are you doing?
But Vasil, we know for a fact that even Churchill at the time only joined after Germany had already conquered Austria and Czech Republic. So it's like these are super complicated stuff. It's not about balls, because if a world war comes to effect and starts, it's fucked up for everyone. Get it? So these are very, very hard situations. It's not about having balls or not. It's about finding another solution. War is the easiest solution. If it's not about balls, it's about avoiding the situation to go that way. But I understand your perspective, right? And I would be 100% with you, because you see your people and you are like, dude, people like the West has to react harder and in a harsher way. But I also understand the West, because the West wants to avoid a war with a country that has nuclear power. And if that kind of war starts, and with Putin being a fucking crazy guy, everyone loses in the end. There are no winners if we start a nuclear war. Everyone loses. So this is very, very complicated, in my opinion.
I don't see a nuclear war happening, to be honest with you. I mean, a nuclear war would just destroy everything. And what do you get out of that?
But Roy, are you willing to bet on that? This is the question.
I don't see.
Because this is the problem. If the war starts, then you have to bet that he won't use the war. But he is an unstable guy, right? He's been there, like all Russians who are to 30 years old or older have only seen Putin in power, or younger, 30 or younger.
If Putin uses nuclear weapons, then he will activate the whole West against him.
Exactly, but who wins? Is there any winner there? Everyone
Yeah,
loses.
well, the West will have to try and win because obviously,
but-
if you have a guy that is bombing, these countries with a nuclear weapon, then not only the whole West, but maybe more
whole
than just
world.
the West.
Yeah, the whole world.
You know the
This-
problem here, guys. With you have to understand he said one time this phrase: "We'll go as far as we need to go because without Russia there should be no world." So that's just that phrase tells everything. He's fucked up in the head. He will like when you say, "Oh, there's no way he's gonna," yeah, I wouldn't be so sure, man.
Exactly.
Whatsoever, man.
Exactly. And
No, of course I can't be sure of it. I'm just it's just an opinion.
And
But
the
I get
West-
it. I get it.
Yeah, and exactly, and I'm pretty sure this is what the Western leaders are thinking as well. They are there, and they are. Are we willing to bet that this crazy motherfucker won't do it? We don't know. We don't know. So we have to go about it diplomatically, and we have to use sanctions to make him retreat. Because if we go on war, then we are going to risk it, even if there's only 5% chance that this crazy man is going to use nuclear weapons. If that happens, then it means it's nuclear war. And in our history, we have only used nuclear bombs twice, right? Both have been from the US, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. There are two towns where even now, 70 years after, you cannot live a normal life, right? And now imagine this all over the planet. It's not that simple, guys. This is very risky.
Yeah. Now, listen, going back to the NATO thing, because it seems to be, you said it seems to be one of the center things of of making agreements. So, if Ukraine says, "Okay, we're not going to join NATO," is Ukraine pushing? I'm assuming Ukraine is pushing to join NATO.
Yeah. I mean, like before the war, we are always we wanted to join NATO, but to be honest, right now there's talks about neutrality status, but with the guarantees of United States and let's say United Kingdom, like in terms of like for the unity of our country. It's a complicated and it's gonna take time. That's why I think this war is not gonna end. I feel like this war is gonna go on for at least a couple more months until Russian economy really starts sinking.
So
Then-
my ultimate question, Vasily, is this, just because I don't know. If Ukraine says, "Okay, we're not going to join NATO, we're going to have these agreements, blah, blah, blah," but they're not with NATO, is that like a defeat for Zelensky? Would that be a defeat for him? Or what do you-
I don't think it's gonna be a complete defeat because as long as we stop the war and depending how far we go, because we might push if things continue going this way and Russians are gonna continue losing ground because that's what's happening because of the mess and disorganization and a lot of shit, lack of logistics. I mean, their army is ran by a bunch of fucking amateurs, man. Honestly, like if you look at how they're fighting, it's bullshit. But anyways, like if we continue push them all the way, let's say to the border or to those republics that they created in the east of Ukraine, like then we can maybe sit down and be like, okay, guys, so no win for anybody, but like let's just get this deal done. And I think maybe Russia will be interested at that time, be like, okay, enough is enough. Let's continue fucking negotiating. I mean, they're already talking. There's a lot of talks behind closed doors. So who knows? Maybe sooner, maybe later, man.
Yeah, but I think if you guys push them until the border, you don't even have to do that anymore. Because it means
Could be.
an incompetent country that should just shut the fuck up and never
the other stuff I've been hearing from like some legit people back home, obviously pretty much 95% of my information or what I pay attention to is related to back home. I mean I haven't watched Milan until I watched the only game I watched was Empoli game. That was
Of course,
I haven't followed what's going on, kind of like here and there, but anyway, so they're saying that the elite of Russia, especially those like they call them siloviki, like like FSB, like military heads of military and stuff. There's talks, or there's like they're saying what can happen is that they're just gonna remove Putin quietly,
Oh,
and then put somebody in place that would be easier to negotiate. That's an option too, but it's a hard one.
are you
Because
talking about an internal coup?
but there's like more and more talks about it, but who knows if that's gonna happen, man? To be honest, like,
Yeah,
so
I find it super hard because it's very hard to do it that way in this situation with basically in a dictatorship, right? Because that's what Putin is by nature, a dictator. So I think it's going to be very hard because being a dictator by itself, one of your characteristics is being paranoid. Therefore, I think he will have every base covered in that sense.
Oh yeah, he already released 1,000 servants or people around him. Like, so he is paranoid. But man, like anything can happen. Like the same thing. Like everybody was saying, there's no way they can attack us. That happened. This shit could also happen. That's why I say nobody knows. But anything can happen, man.
In my personal opinion, even though I don't know much shit, right? I think the main goal of Russia after this, I don't think Russia's main goal is to conquer Ukraine or to get land from Ukraine, because that, in my opinion, is never gonna hold, right? Even though it did happen with Crimea, to be fair, but I think
why? I'll explain to you why it happened, because I don't know if you paid any attention around 2013-14 when we had the revolution and we overthrew that corrupted piece of shit president. He was pro-Russian. He was pro-Russian too.
Yeah, he did that because Ukraine basically removed the puppet that Putin had put there.
Yeah. And our military at that time, man, was shit.
Yeah.
At that time, 2014 was complete shit. So obviously they took it easy.
Yeah.
But not anymore.
So I think the goal of this whole war, in my opinion, is for Ukraine to make an agreement with Russia and with the West to not join the EU, right? Because Russia is like, I see the Baltic countries, they are part of not to join the NATO, not the EU. I see the Baltic countries, which are border countries with Russia, and they are part of NATO. I see Belarus, which is basically a puppet state for Ukraine and for Russia. And now I don't want Ukraine in my border to be part of an organization which in its base, it's a military organization against Russia, right? So in my opinion, if in the end Ukraine says, you know what, I'm going to be a neutral country in the sense I will not join the NATO, but you don't give me crap about my lands and everything. It has to be returned to Ukraine. And after that, I think he will just stop it because this shit makes no sense in that.
And financially speaking, they cannot go on. They just in equipment, the jets, the helicopters, the tanks, all the armored vehicles. It was estimated by like Western, I guess, intelligence that just so far they just in equipment they lost over $5 billion, and the cost of war every day, it's a lot of money, man, a lot of money. So that's another thing that will slowly, drain them. Hopefully, man.
Yeah, man.
But I'm staying positive, man. Like obviously first day was a shock when this whole shit happened, but now I'm fully confident. Either way, this war will end. The problem is civilians dying. That's the worst for me.
Now, I don't know if you guys know the answer to this question, like factually or just an opinion. I don't know. This is why I'm asking. But what do the Russian civilians think about this? Like, where are they? Obviously, I'm sure the country is throwing a lot of propaganda to them.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
do you guys know where the general Russian civilian is with this topic?
I can say. I'm sorry. Go on.
No, I'll just say this. I would say, from what I've seen and from just all the information I have, I would say around 70% because of propaganda still believe that this shit they're doing the right thing. They're like getting rid in Ukraine. They're fighting Nazis apparently, like we're all Nazis suddenly. Anyways,
Exactly.
it's
Yeah.
fucked up shit. It's actually kind of funny. It's kind of actually funny to be honest. But that's about 70% that believe in this shit. So it's pretty high, man. That's a problem too.
What's the population of Russia? Do you guys know? What is it?
140
approximately?
million.
100
140
Around 100 million.
Wow, fuck, that's a lot.
140?
I didn't know it was so much.
I
Yeah,
think it's
130,
around
140.
100 million. Oh yeah, 144 million. Holy shit! And Ukraine is around 40 million, right?
Yeah, about 40 plus. I mean, there's more living outside. So they're estimating that if we take all the Ukrainians that
Yeah,
live
yeah, yeah.
outside, it's about 60 million around, roughly saying 55, 60.
But it's like at least my experience or in the news, at least in Germany with the Russian people and everything. I think at least the Russians who are living outside there and are not getting bombarded by Russian propaganda, they are super against them. But also in the West, there have been a lot of like people are kind of going against Russian people, which I also find kind of unfair. Like in Germany, for example, a lot of Russian workers have been like harassed by random Germans or whatever.
Honestly,
Because-
honestly, man, I get your point, but you have to look at it from this way, man. Like, I know personally, I used to know personally quite a few Russians that live in the United States, and unfortunately, man, especially older generation that moved here, a lot of them support Putin, man. A lot. You would be fucking surprised, man. And I'm talking about from my personal experience, not just I've heard
Yeah,
it
I
somewhere.
understand.
You know, I cut ties
To be
with a lot
honest-
of people, man.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. To be honest, like at least the Russians I've met, I kind of categorize them in two categories. Like there are, because in Berlin, especially, I've met like a lot of Russians. Like I don't know why, but there's a lot of Russians in Berlin. And when I used to live there, I've met the rich Russians are pro Putin, but the normal guy, like the middle class and poor Russian, is super against Putin, and they see him as a dictator. So it's kind of weird in this sense.
You know, it's and I get it, like why you will feel like, oh, it's not fair. But you know, it's like back in the day, you know, not all Germans were Nazi back in the day, but everybody. It's called collective responsibility, man. So
Yeah.
that's how it's just gonna go, man. It is what
Yeah,
it is. I don't feel bad whatsoever, man. Like you know, and I'm not like a bloodthirsty person. Trust me, man. But they crossed the line where now I don't give a fuck. Like if I see Russian, he better fucking like keep his mouth shut, man.
I mean, you have every right to feel that way. I mean, they're literally trying to invade the country, and
They're killing my they're
Yeah.
killing my people and killing kids, man. That for me, that's when I see images of that kids, man. I don't give a fuck. Like I don't give a fuck how they feel, or like, oh, you know why I live outside, but I secretly watch fucking Russia 24. Now they blocked it, obviously, so which is good. But you could get all the Russian channels in America easy peasy, man. So fuck them, fuck all of them, man. The relationship is ruined for a long time between Ukrainians and Russians, man. That's fact. Done, and we just need to understand it and move on. So Russians, like, I'm sorry, and especially if you support it. I know some Russians that like told me personally they think Putin is great. So like I told my brother, because one of them lives like in town where my brother and my parents live. I said, if I see that motherfucker, man, like just warn him, like do not cross my path, man, because I'm gonna fuck you up, like straight up. Because I know it's a fact. I know this person for sure is pro Putin. Now he changed because he realized, oh shit show started. So suddenly he changed his, opinion. Fuck you, man. I remember everything, motherfucker, man. But anyways, it's like, I'm not gonna go on about that. But that's just what it is, man. It's fucked up, man. It's fucked up, but it is what it is, man.
I hear you. I hear I can understand a very stressful moment for Ukrainians and also for the rest of the world, because it's never nice to be in real war. This is a real war, so
But given the opportunity here, because I don't come here that often, I want to thank everybody who's writing to me, and I really appreciate it. All the people from different countries, in Europe, like Poland, the whole world. Is most of the people from the world are like supporting and helping, man. So like, big thanks to everybody.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. Yeah, yeah, man.
Yeah, sorry guys, I came here and brought this stuff to you. I know
No,
you're talking about.
we haven't heard from you in a while. I was actually curious to see what was going on with you. So it's nice to hear some updates.
Yeah,
And yeah, man.
as we say where I'm from, like as we say, glory to Ukraine, man. That's it. Bottom line, will prevail. It will cost us a lot, man, but we'll survive, man. This one, like, just gotta stay positive.
Now, one thing I heard, I think yesterday or something, was that Ukraine has exports grain, is one of the biggest exporters of grain in Europe,
Yes,
and this will hurt the food supply. Have you heard about this?
yeah, yeah. You know that not just in Europe, we have 10% of the world grain like resources, so to say. 10%, the whole world, man.
Yeah.
Our soil is so rich, man. We have a name for it. There's no name in English for it, but it's fucking you stick a piece of wood in that land and it's gonna grow. Like that's like for real. Like really, that's why our agriculture is amazing, awesome. Like sunflower, wheat, all these things, man.
Yeah, and I think they were talking about this here in the news that this might affect a global food shortage.
It will probably for sure, man. Unfortunately, man. I don't know. It's set all around, man. To be honest.
Interesting.
It's like more or less like with gas prices right now, right? But because of the war, gas has gone like through the roof.
Yeah, I mean, I know in Europe it's insane. Even in America it's pretty bad, but in Europe it's even worse, man.
Oh yeah, you're right, man. Because maybe in the US you guys don't feel it much, but here
No,
there
I
was
mean we
some
feel
days
it,
in
but
which
it's not as bad, man.
yeah, there was some days in which gas was €2 and 50 cents for a liter. So it's like almost 50% more than normal.
Yeah, right now
About 30% more than normal.
where I live, 1 gallon is about $4. 3.85, 3.95, 4.
How
A
much?
gallon, so
How much a gallon?
around $4 where I live.
Really?
Yeah.
Here it's 6, almost 7.
Yeah, bro, you're in California, man. Unfortunately.
Yep.
It's always been more expensive over there, man, in California.
Yeah. Yeah, it's yeah, man, dude. You know what worries me? Of course, it's all bad, but what worries me is the third world war. Like there's many factors that could lead to that because there's a lot of international players at stake. So another question for you, Vasil, because I don't know, maybe you know better. Are other countries back in China? I mean,
China?
Russia. Is China back in Russia?
In the beginning, they kind of were, but then now they're not officially, so to say.
Okay.
At least in the UN, I think China didn't vote at all, right? China and India,
Yes.
they didn't vote, and then the rest of the countries, other than Russia, voted pro-Ukraine, like pro-harder sanctions to Russia. But the problem with the UN table is that if it's not unanimous, then you cannot really do anything about it, which is so absurd in my opinion.
You know, like after war, man,
see.
we need to change stuff, man, in UN after war, man. We really need to change stuff, man.
Because I saw there was even a resolution which Albania raised, because we are non-permanent members, but we are members representing the Eastern Europe right now, and I think we had a resolution together with the US, which then didn't get approved because Russia basically voted no, which to me is just so crazy because Russia is the country doing the deed, but they also get to vote.
How,
And they
Russia's
can block it
voting in
because
this?
it's not
How,
unanimous.
how does that make any sense?
Yeah,
because
they can veto.
Russia is
They
part
can
of-
veto shit,
Yeah,
man.
because
Yeah,
Russia
they
is
can
part of
veto stuff, man.
the permanent member. Yeah,
You know. Oh, by the
it's
way,
just idiotic. So,
guys,
so
that is absurd. That is absurd.
yeah,
Brett
so-
John. By the way,
Mhm.
I want to just
That is
tell you
so
something.
absurd.
I was watching news like yesterday, or 2 days ago, and you know the
Mhm.
interesting thing. You know we have foreign legion in Ukraine, like people from all over the world come to fight, and they
Yeah.
were showing Albanian bro
Yeah,
fighting in Ukraine. Yeah, man.
yeah, I'm pretty
He's
sure.
he's like Slava Ukraini, and then he said something in English. I forgot what he was saying.
Yeah,
I was like, look at him, man.
yeah, man, but
Representing, bro.
I have heard there are people from all over Europe going to Ukraine to fight. For
Yeah,
Ukraine.
a lot of Americans, a lot of Canadians, a lot of British, and a lot of other countries too.
Yeah.
Ex-military, ex-special force dudes are coming. Like apparently, we got the best Canadian sniper right now fighting for Ukraine. So hey, man, whatever it takes.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, but this about the UN is comically bad. Get it? Because
But honestly, I'll be quite honest with you. Okay, and I don't want to get into conspiracy theories, but as soon as if this what you said about the UN is true, if you're
Yes.
100% sure about what you said is true, and that's in the laws, I mean, this tells me that the UN is corrupt as fuck.
Yep, yeah, that's why I said it needs to be reformed, man.
listen, but guys, the thing is that you cannot do it any other way because the way UN works, and this is not in the UN. There are 180 something member states, right? But only 15 states get to sit at the table, right? And from these states, there are, I think, 5. When I say states, I mean countries, right? There are 5 countries which are permanent countries. These countries are there at the table every
Which
single
are what?
meeting.
US, UK, US, UK.
China, UK, US, France, Russia, and that's about it. These are the 5 countries.
Okay.
Right?
So Russia's
Then-
part of it. So Russia from the World War II.
Exactly.
Okay, I see.
So these are basically the countries representing the powers or whatever for each continent, or the but I don't see no representative for the African continent, for example. But these are the power states, so to say. And then you have other members which are non-permanent members, right? And these members get, I think, a 2-year mandate, and every 2 years they represent their whole region, so to say. Like, for example, this is the reason why Albania was at this table this year, right? Because they represent Eastern Europe at the UN table. Then you have Brazil, Gabon, India, Ireland, Mexico, Norway. Whatever. Now the problem is because yes, tell me.
Rojan, I'm so sorry to like
No problem.
interrupt you in the middle of your. I just have to go. So thanks, guys, for
Have a good one.
for
man.
listening. Yeah, listening. I'll try to
Glory to
stop by.
Ukraine.
Yeah, forever, man. Thank you for all the support, and also I will stop by as many times as I can, obviously whatever I can. But yeah, thank you
Absolutely.
guys. Have a good one.
Hey, Vasily. Good to hear from you, my man. Good to hear from you.
Nice hearing you guys too. Take care.
Later, Vasily. Bye. Wow. There you go, guys. We got to hear from Vasily finally. We got to finally hear from Vasily. How are things in Germany? How is Germany living in this situation? UN is corrupt. It's not.
There are a lot of refugees coming from Ukraine, so
Okay.
a lot of people are taking refuges at their places, and also a lot of hotels are now not working as hotels anymore, but they are like accommodating refugees, and the state is paying for the accommodation, so to say.
Okay.
And
Are
I
these
will also-
refugees viewed as permanent or temporary?
The thing is that right now they are temporary, right? But then after that, every person that has come as a refugee has a right to want to integrate itself in the country which which
Yeah, I guess
they went to. Right?
right. I
So,
guess it'll
but
depend on
but
what's happening.
yeah, but so they are seen as temporary refugees at the moment. So,
Well, yeah, yeah. Wow, what a crazy
so
situation, man.
and also starting from April, I will also like uh, be part of about I don't know the word in English. It's not coming right now. Like how do you say when you go and help and for X amount of hours a week or something like that?
Community service?
Community service, but community service isn't it a negative connotation like in
No,
English?
not
No,
necessarily.
okay, so yeah, so as part of the scope, yeah, I'm like I spoke to one of these agencies which are dealing with the refugees and how to help them and everything. So starting from
Oh, okay.
February, I'm also gonna do like around
I get.
8 hours a week. Yeah.
Volunteer, volunteer. Yeah,
Volunteering. Yeah, volunteering.
gotcha, gotcha.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly. The word was not coming, man. Fuck no. So starting from
Gotcha,
April, I'm also gonna try to do my very tiny part in
gotcha.
doing that.
Good for you, my man. Good for you. Yeah, I don't know much about what's going on there. I don't really follow the news too much, so I see bits and pieces here and there, and you know, it's far away from here. So
Yeah.
at least it is for now. For you guys, it's literally for you. It's what, a few 100 miles away, right?
Yeah. So it's it's basically next country after Poland.
Right, right,
So it's the neighbor of our neighbor, so to say.
correct. Yeah, man. So Red John, make sure that the war doesn't escalate. Do your part.
I mean, this is more about people feeling well because it's not easy to be forced out of your home. Get it? So it's like these people are suffering an enormous amount of stress right now, enormous amount of pain mentally and physically as well. So it's a sad situation to live in Europe and in
Yeah. Anyway, this thing here
in
about
2022. So
look, this thing here about these five countries controlling the UN. I mean, it seems it seems very bizarre. That's all I'm saying. It's bizarre. Okay. It definitely raises a lot of questions about many things. Um, I don't know.
yeah,
I don't want to get into it, but it just that's the first impression.
yeah. But the thing is, would the US be okay with the UN being represented by I don't know Cambodia, Gabon, Macedonia, and whatever anytime? No, they wouldn't, man, because these are countries which don't really have power. So if you don't have the power, you don't have a say in the matter. Get it? So in a way, I understand why you say that, but I also understand why it's like that. It's like that because big countries are not gonna be, I don't know, or are not gonna stand there and listen to countries which have no power giving them directions. This is the
No,
way how it
I,
works.
I agree that, and you bring up a good point. Power dictates, for sure. Um,
The fact that they also let some non-permanent members have voting right and the veto right by voting, it's good enough for me, right? The fact that I don't know, let's take a look here. Gabon has a vote, is a voting member, and he can be part of the table as well. It's good enough, and it shows that it's not corrupt, but it's not easy as well, right? Because you try the UN in itself, the United Nations in itself, it's every single country is a member of United Nations, so it's hard
are you there?
to Russia inside there, or China, or India, or these kind of countries, and they are going to vote for in their favor. They're not going to vote in your favor. So
Hmm. Well, okay, listen, I know not totally appropriate, but let's segue back into Milan because I mean I don't want to have a conversation about politics, but you know let's try to do it as gracefully as possible because it is a very serious thing that is happening. But what's going on? What do you think about Milan these last what is it 8 games, 7 games? How are you seeing this?
Now, Roy, I have one question for you. Okay,
Okay.
I have one question for you, and the question
Yeah.
is: if Milan doesn't win the Scudetto right now, right
Yes.
after
Yes.
we have eight matches now, are you going to tell me that we are young? It's okay. We only wanted the top four, or are you going to be a little bit
Yes.
angry or a little bit disappointed?
No, I'm only going to be disappointed if we don't make top four.
No. But we are right there, Roy. How can you have that?
I mean, the thing is that I think it's a mistake to think that because it's only 8 games left that we should for some reason we it's automatic, right? I think that's what 24 points. That's a lot of points in 8 games. A lot of things can happen. So I think the real conversation, this real conversation, should be 3 games till the end. But 8 games is a lot; it's an eternity. So that's the first thing. Second thing is because this team, it wasn't the objective. This team, the objective was play to win it, play to win the Scudetto, but make sure you get that top four spot. And then next year, as I said before, there's no excuses anymore. Age is not going to be an excuse, even though next year, by what I'm seeing, there was someone did a presentation today about it. The midfield that Milan is looking at, we're talking about Tonali, Benacer, Sanchez, Ali, Pobega. This is an extremely young midfield. Extremely young midfield. We're talking about an age average of 22, 23. So, but I don't think next year it would be appropriate for the club to say, we're just shooting for the top four. At this point, you can't hide anymore. You have shown that even last season you can compete to be up there in the top. Right now, the team is still young, but it's starting to get into that stage where you can't call the team, the project, young anymore. So we're getting closer to that, but this season still belongs to the young Milan. And again, if we don't win the Scudetto, of course I'll be disappointed. But as long as we make the top four, the team is still in the right trajectory. That's why I won't be disappointed.
Okay, I get it.
What about you?
I will be disappointed because at least the way I see things is it doesn't matter if you are doing a marathon, right? And you enter the marathon thinking, I'm not the favorite. I'm just gonna run to keep to prove something to myself, right? And then after 80% of the roads, or after 90% of the whole marathon, you find yourself in the first place. You cannot have the same mentality when you find yourself there on top. After yes.
Well, I agree with what you're saying, by the way. Keep on going.
Yeah. So it's like I understand that you entered the competition with one thing in your mind, but after you crossed 90% of the competition and you find yourself on top of the competition, you cannot have the same thinking or the way of looking at the competition as you had in the beginning. So for this reason, I think Milan, after finding itself in the first place, master of their own destiny, right? With 8 games to go, the mentality should be that not winning the Scudetto is a tragedy now. It's not about the top four anymore. This should be the mentality. Whether you make it or not, it's a totally different. It's a totally different discussion, right? But the mentality of the team should be this: every single match now is a final. Every single match is do or die. And if the way I see it, it's not so much about winning, even though winning is all that matters in the end. But it's about the fact that this group of players have right now the alternative to grow up prematurely, but to grow up. And if they do it right now, you guarantee that they are going to become champions because you get early on into their blood that winning DNA and knowing how to suffer and to win even when you are not supposed to win.
No, yeah, I absolutely agree with all of this. The thing that where maybe I differ is in I would expect the players to be that way. I would want the players to think it that way, but as the management, I would not personally do that. I think that would hurt the players if they don't succeed. You have to kind of balance it out. You want your players to be warriors and to be hungry of victory. At the same time, as the managers, as the grown-ups that are raising this, whatever you want to call it, you also have to be aware of where they are and aware that if you push them too much and if you put it in their head that if they don't win, they fail, you might lose them in the future too. So I agree that mentally that's what the team should do because they have an opportunity to take the bull by its horns, as you're saying, and that's what the players should play to. You're 100% right. That's how the players should play. But yeah, I just don't think Maldini should be that way. I don't think Pioli should be that way, etc.
No, I agree. I agree. Like there is no reason for Maldini and Pioli to add more pressure to a group of people that are already pressured by the thought of winning or by the massive amount of weight you have when you think about how close you are to reaching an amazing objective, right? But that being said, it's not time to set our priorities low, so to say, right now, because you find yourself at that position, you should now go and try everything in your power to make it happen. And if after trying everything in your power you still don't make it, it's okay. But
Well,
at
yeah,
least you
absolutely.
at least yeah.
But that's what
But
I said. That's what I said.
Sure, but the problem is that are you doing everything in your power to win if you leave a door open, if you leave a window open and say I'm gonna be okay even if we don't win it?
Mm.
No, like
Well, I'm
doing
saying
everything.
me. I'm saying me as me. But I know
Yeah,
that I
okay.
I know that the players, if they don't win it, obviously we're going to be disappointed in themselves. Obviously, but because
Yeah,
I'm looking
at
at the
least
no, go ahead.
yes, go on.
No, I'm just
At
saying.
least in my mentality, okay, there's must be some kind of delay because
No,
okay,
okay,
go
just
on,
finish.
you go
Finish.
on.
All right. I'll go. Again, I'm talking about me. I won't be disappointed. Obviously, you'll be disappointed the day of, but then my I'm looking at the club. I'm looking at the future, and of course they're going to be disappointed. But again, the project is only 2 years in its course, so it's early. They have a great chance to win, and if they do, they'll be excellent. They'll be excellent. It'll be in line with what is happening. They're overachieving. So, but if they don't win, they can win next year and the win after that. It won't, as long as they know for a fact that this is a club that can stay in that top four and compete for number one every year. Positive things will happen. You're not going to win every year, unless you're Juventus.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
So we don't disagree on that.
No, we theoretically we don't disagree. We just kind of disagree in how we live or how we interpret not winning. This is the only thing we disagree.
Right.
In the sense
Right.
that I would describe after finding yourself first in the marathon for 90% or 95% of the way, and you don't win. I find that in the end to be a disappointment. But you interpret it as in when you started the race, you weren't even thinking about winning. So why would you be disappointed in the end if you don't win? Right? This is the only.
Yeah. Now next year, though, there is going to be a different kind of pressure because next year they can't hide anymore. The team cannot hide anymore, and also if things go according to how they have been trying to organize the transfer market, Milan is going to be one of the most competitive. Is going to be, if not the most, but one of the most, which already is one of the most competitive teams in Italy, for sure. And Europe is going to be much better. Europe is going to be much better. I'm assuming. Okay, I don't know, but I think that Europe is going to be much better because the club is going in that direction. So next year onwards, Milan cannot hide anymore. We cannot hide. Milan next year onwards is a Serie A Scudetto winning team. Then if they don't win it, they don't win it. But I'm not. You're never going to be hearing from me anymore. The team is young. After this year, that excuse is gone, and it's not an excuse because even Maldini said it this year. He said these exact same words that I'm saying. But next year, guys, it's not an excuse anymore. Next year, it's 2 years that you made Champions League. You're already a Champions League team at this point. The team has to be built to perform and compete in the Champions League, and that's it. You're one of the top teams. So now the mentality will change. You can't look at this team anymore as a young team. Now, ironically enough, the team is still really young next year.
Exactly, and this is my fear. My fear is that because the team is still young, next year, if we don't win this year and we don't win next year again, I'm going to hear the same excuse that we are young, and somehow, some way, we are forever going to be young until we win. So sometimes, the way I see it, it's sometimes in order for you to be taken seriously and to be seen as a Scudetto contender, first you have to win the Scudetto. And I say this very, very frankly, because look at Milan finished last season as the second best team in Italy, right? And yet when people were going and giving their rankings before this season started, most of the people, or at least most of the other Italian fans, would place Milan as fifth. Why? Because it's a young team, and as long as you are perceived as a young team, you are justified in failing. But after you win, if Milan wins, for example, this Scudetto, there is no one next season that is going to doubt Milan as in being a Scudetto favorite. I don't know if I was able to explain myself.
No, listen. Of course. When you win, you have proved you're a winner, and at that point, yeah, even more so, you can't hide behind your age. But essentially, even though we are still a young team next year, it is a team with much more experience. It's a team that now has experienced 2 seasons at the top. A team that has experienced a good season in the Europa League, could have been better, and has experienced what it's like to play against the big boys in Europe. So maybe in Europe we can still kind of use that example. Maybe in Europe we can still use that, but in Italy, no. Next year, no. We can't call this team young anymore in Italy. Maybe we can still kind of use it in Europe. Maybe.
Yeah, no, I agree. We can definitely use it in Europe. Like, I don't think I think how our season is going to be in Europe next season, result-wise, is going to depend on where we finish the season. If we don't finish first in Italy this season, we're going to have a hard time getting out of the group stage in Europe next season. Because we are again going to be fourth spot, so we are going to have to play against big teams.
Yeah, and that is a definitely a good point there. Now, listen. Of course, when you win, it gives you that extra boost. It gives you that turbo. You can you can cover more mileage. So winning would be ideal. Absolutely.
Yes.
And it will speed everything up. It will speed everything up, and it will add volume to what we're trying to do. So, I mean, yeah, man, let's take it. It's in our hands right now. Let's do it. Let's go. Let's take it. Let's win this.
Exactly.
Um
And if you see it objectively, don't you think that this team is capable of winning 7 games? It is. Like, I look at the teams we are playing against, and I'm like, we can beat every single team. So you have to go and play, in a way, 7 finals, or play 7 very, very important teams. There is no team we are going to face in the upcoming 8 matches, then he's going to be more motivated than us. No team.
Well,
Sassuolo,
I
Atalanta, all these teams are not going to be more motivated than us.
well on paper, yes, but I don't know if I can share. I don't know if I share that sentiment because I'm seeing issues with Milan that that need to be addressed. Which is you got to take your chances because if you don't score, like Milan is creating a lot, but if you are only scoring that one goal, you're Macedonia. That's what's going to happen to you. You know exactly what happened to Italy. So you have to score these goals. If I got to see this first before
agree.
believing
I
it.
agree. I agree.
Yeah. Milan will win CL within the next 3 years. If not, I'm going to stop watching each and every game Milan plays. I bet with my confidence, I never had this feeling in the last 12 years. I think it's possible. I think so. If everything goes upwards, if the trend keeps going upwards, and also look at this team, guys. In 3 years, you know what's crazy? In 3 years, this team is still young. It's still a freaking young team.
Yes.
I mean, it's absolutely insane. All right. How can you guys see becoming Milan manager post Pioli? I love Padre Pioli, but I don't believe he can take us to the next level. I don't know.
I've kind of never been a super Pioli fan, right? But I kind of have to give him a lot of credit, man, because I still believe that the fact that we are first right now is majorly because of Pioli and because of
Yeah.
Maldini, of course, but for big players. But Pioli has done a tremendous job with especially players which are not our main players or the starting 11 players. Because you look at this team and you see Krunic, whoever comes on, Kalulu, whoever comes on and has to play, they give their all, and they make you not miss the starter. So Pioli is a big part of our success, in my opinion. So I see no reason why we should think that Pioli cannot win the Champions League so far.
Wow. Bold words. Damn.
Yes. No, I sincerely see it this way because I think Milan has evolved, but Pioli has evolved as well. Like you see different faces of Pioli with each match we play, and you see a Pioli that is evolving for the better, for the best. If he is going to be able to evolve into a the Champions League winning manager, that's a different topic. But I see no reason to doubt it right now, or I see no reason to say he will not do it. Right?
Okay. That's very optimistic of you. All right. Good question from Joel. I don't know. I don't know what to think about this question, to be honest with you. I guess. Okay. So when it comes to the Champions League, Pioli disappointed me a lot this season. But I agree with Brett John that he is. You put it really nicely, Barry. He is growing. He is evolving with the team, and I see that happening too. So, yeah, I think it's possible that Pioli could achieve something like that. I think so, but I don't know. It's really hard for me to tell. It's really hard for me to tell. Honestly, I think they can win it next year, man.
I understand what you say when you say that you kind of were disappointed next year, anyhow, unless something incredible happens, right? Or unless I don't know. But the thing is, I understand when you say that Pioli disappointed in Europe because you maybe expected Pioli to have a little bit more bravery when going against these teams in Europe, right? Did I get it right?
Yeah, correct.
Like but the problem
Right.
is that
Exactly.
sometimes even if Pioli was or wanted to play a more proactive or more attacking football, the quality difference sometimes it just overwhelms you. Like it's hard for you to play against
Yeah, that's true too.
Liverpool. But,
Absolutely. No,
so
that is true
in a
as well.
sense,
Yeah.
it's the management's job as well to give Pioli more quality. to give Pioli more alternatives, and maybe
Of course,
he will be
that's
able to express it.
no. That's absolutely a super valid point. Yeah. No, honestly, look, I agree that he is improving with the team, and he did say one thing that I really liked, and he said it, I think, a few days ago, and it was a post-match interview. He said that, I don't know, it almost felt like he had a moment of thinking and a moment of realizing things, and he said these words. He said, "Look, we are a team that we don't like." Um, we don't like to we score a goal because he was being criticized of scoring a goal then sitting back, and he said, as if he realized, this team is not a team designed to sit back. We need to score a goal, and we need to keep on going. We need to keep on going because this is how the players like to play. He literally said the players don't like to play sitting back, and it almost felt like a moment of him growing into this more courageous coach. So yeah, I think he can. Yeah, I think you're right. He can. Yeah, he can grow into it.
Yeah.
All right. What else is there, Rajan?
I don't know. It's it's there. These are slow weeks, right? Because the national teams are playing, so you don't really hear a lot of news about clubs other than the usual mercato bullshit, right?
Yeah. Bologna should be. I don't know. I don't. Honestly, like for me, it's even hard to think. You know what pisses this game against Turkey pisses me off even more than the loss against Macedonia. Like I can't even think of Bologna because this stupid game against
Yeah.
Turkey needs to happen first.
Which makes no sense, but I guess.
Oh, I have a question for you. I don't know if you were here or no, you weren't here. What do you think of Dybala? Do you think he could join AC Milan? And do you think would you want him at AC Milan? And what do you think, or what do you think is going to happen with him?
I think uh, the way I see it is like this: we have the richest club in Italy, Juventus, who has all the resources to give Dybala what he is asking for. Right? They are saying, "Fuck it, I'm not going to do it," because they look at the guy in these important matches for Juventus, and they cannot put him at the center of the project, right? So they refuse, and they see it as uh, out of their budget to give this guy what he's asking for. So the question itself makes no sense if you're telling me, if is Milan able to give this guy what he's asking for? No, of course not. If Milan had 8 million to give to Dybala, they would have paid Kessie what Kessie needed, and Kessie is a vastly more reliable player than Dybala. So in other words, no, I see Dybala never coming at Milan, and I don't even want Dybala to come at Milan.
Wow.
An expensive injury-prone player is the least thing we need right now. We need reliable players, hopefully as good as Dybala, but reliable. Dybala is not mentally reliable, at least for una piazza like Milan, or at least the late Milan, the Milan that is full of youngsters. We don't need a diva right now. We need working horses and people who are humble.
Well, yeah, I mean, he obviously has the opportunity to get a bigger contract, so I don't think it's going to happen with Milan. That's for sure. Maybe it can happen with Inter in Italy. That's it, but probably Spain or somewhere else.
There are a lot of rumors connecting him to Inter, and I hope Inter gets him, because this would be the destruction of Inter, in my opinion, if Inter gets him.
You really think so? You think that would be the destruction of Inter?
But we are talking about a player who has never been there when Juventus needed him, because he is an injury-prone player, and he is also a player that has in 90 minutes he has 20 minutes if he is on his day, 20 minutes of world class and the rest invisibility. He is invisible on the field, and I think Milan is not at that stage right now where they can afford such player.
Well, look, I think he's a great player, and I would love to have him at Milan. That's my personal opinion. Um,
Really?
yes, absolutely, because I think that I think he's stagnant at Juve. There's so many issues. He needs a new place. He needs new motivations. A lot of people think that he's faking his injuries, which that's I know that I'm not going to make that
No.
argument.
But listen, if that's true, that's even worse.
Yeah,
This is
but I think no.
not
Look,
being professional is worse than being injured.
yeah, no, for sure, for sure. I think that if he were to join Milan, Milan would turn him into a champion, the champion that he could be, that he is. I just don't think we can't afford him right now, and I don't think it makes sense. I'm honestly so against these players getting paid so much money. Like, I don't care how many shirts they sell. I mean, that's essentially why they're getting paid money, just because they sell shirts. Messi right now should be getting paid like Castillo. Honestly, Castillo should be getting paid more than Messi right now.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's the issue I have, I guess. But no, I have a little bit more trust in Dybala, I guess, as a player than you do, I guess.
No, but the thing is, I really like Dybala as a player. The problem that I have with Dybala is his age, his behavior, and also the fact that he's super injury prone. So, what good does it do to you if you get a player paying twice as much as Hernandez and as Leao, if he is still going to miss 50% of the game, same as Ibra, and have behavioral issues? So it's not worth to take the risk. And this is me talking, not even taking into account the fact that every single Juventus player that we have taken has been totally an utter failure for us. Higuain, Bonucci, the guy that we have sent to Venezia, I even forgot his name right now. Caldara. Every player we get from Juventus is a total bust. So for me, stop with players from Juventus. Just let them be.
Mm. Skillard says Renato injury is prone as well. What do you think about that then?
Yes, but the difference between Dybala and Renato Sanchez is that Renato Sanchez will not get paid 9 million a year. He will get paid 3 million a year.
He's
And-
making 4 million before tax. Gross. He's making 4 million gross.
Who is?
Renato Sanchez. Yeah, at Lille right now.
4 million gross means 2 million net.
Right. So in Italy, I think he can get 3.5 or close to 4 million.
Exactly. And 3.5 for him would be as much as I don't know, as much as Rebic is getting, which is an okay salary in my opinion.
I think so too. Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
So even though Renato Sanchez is an injury-prone player, he is not gonna come to Milan as the superstar. But if Dybala comes to Milan, he's gonna come as a superstar. So you don't need to rely as much on Renato Sanchez as you would need to rely on Dybala. So this is more or less what I'm saying. Like I can be okay with Renato Sanchez being injury prone, but not with Dybala.
Now, what do you think about the signing of Origi, which seems to be a done deal?
I think that if we sign Origi, we're not going to sign another striker who's like not. If we sign Origi, we're not going to sign the striker that Laird has promised us. This is what I say. That being said,
Okay.
That being said, every single player that comes from the EPL somehow does well in Serie A. So I don't see why Origi would be any different from that.
Gotcha.
So I'm okay with Origi coming.
Now, now this is what I think. This is my opinion, huh? And I think it kind of makes sense. Next year, they can't afford to do a full season with having more ambitions in Europe and in Italy, with only two strikers and one this youngster that they've always been wanting to have. We need a youngster. Obviously, this youngster experiment has not worked. They need three top level strikers. Top level, I don't mean Haaland and Mbappe. I mean top level Giroud, you know, top reliable, top level Giroud, Origi, and for me, I would add Belotti in there. Do you think there is going to be another striker, or do you think Ibra is going to stay, or what do you think?
Now, I'm hoping that Ibra is not going to stay, right? Because it's if Ibra stays, I understand Ibra has done a lot for us, blah blah. But Ibra staying would mean we run Milan like the family grocery shop, right? That you create feelings with your the people you employ, and you just keep on employing them because they are good people. Milan is a very important entity in Italy and should be managed as a well-run machine, not based on feelings. So Ibra should not get a renew, even if he wants to keep on playing football, right? And we should get a younger striker. And if the management is not happy with this, the guy from Serbia that we got, then maybe we should go and spend some money on another guy who's doing well, the Etiquette guy or whatever. But in my opinion, Ibra should not renew.
I mean, we're talking if we're going
He
to
becomes a
spend
burden.
yeah. As far as Zebra, I understand that. If we do buy a player like Etiquette, that's we're talking about 30, 40 million. I don't think Milan is going to spend that money on the striking position this year. I don't think so. They might, because there's even talk of Scamacca, right? Scamacca, 35, 40. Right. What I think, and I've said this again, I know people don't disagree with me, but it's okay. I don't care. That Milan is going to take this advantage of getting Origi and Belotti, and then they're going to go into next season with Giroud, Belotti, and Origi, all players that came practically for free, like Galliani said a week ago, that the only way to make things happen in Italy is with free contracts. And you have three really reliable strikers, and then you can spend the rest of your money on the things you need to fix. Then next season, that's when we're going to buy Haaland, and Haaland is going to come to Milan.
Listen, if we manage to get Belotti, Origi, and Giroud, we have a really good attack, in my opinion, right? Because you got every kind of striker for every situation you might be in. But I don't think we're going to get Belotti, Origi, and Giroud, because it would make no sense from the player's perspective. Because if you get Origi...
It's a wild dream.
Yeah. If you get Origi, Giroud, and Belotti, it means that two of these players are going to have to be okay with the fact that they will almost never play or not play consistently. And I really doubt that.
Yeah, no, that's definitely that's definitely a thing. I mean, it depends what the coach does, but yeah, that is definitely one of the concerns that these players might have. I don't think they should have these concerns. I think they should go into it, with an open mind and hoping that they got to win. They win they fight for their spot, for their minutes. Now, okay, this is just an opinion I have. That's a dream, something like that. Who do you think Milan is going to spend money on? Because we know they want to get Botman and Sanchez, but there's going to be a Mr. X kind of guy. Remember the famous Mr. X? Do you think there is? Do you remember? Do you think there is going to be a Mr. X this transfer market?
I think there is going to be a Mr. X, and the Mr. X is going to be the right winger, because it's a position in which, even though you and I never accepted, but it's a position in which we really lack. We lack quality. But I just wish that the Mr. X is not Berardi. This is my wish. I know you are a super fan of Berardi, but not Berardi.
Well, Berardi is being heavily linked. He does cost a lot.
40 million or something.
Yeah, 40
It's just
million.
crazy. It's just crazy because it's a player that you have to buy when he is 28, and you have to grow him.
Correct.
give him Champions League experience. Like, at least buy a young player.
I think it's reasonable to go somewhere around 25. I think if he can bring it down to that, they can
For 25, I'm
possibly-
okay. If we get Berardi for 25, I'm okay with that. But let's not spend 40 million on Berardi, because with 40 million you can go for a player who's regarded as a top potential player in the European arena. You don't have to go for Berardi.
Now they might end up getting him for 30. 35. They might.
I guess I'm okay with it, but I still don't see Berardi as the player who's. I see Berardi as the player who's going to be excellent for us in Serie A, but not give us that extra thing in Europe.
Well, let's see, because there's a bunch of names. There's even that guy from Tottenham. I'm not sure who that guy is. Do you know who that player is?
Bergwijn.
Yeah. No, I'm always reading that this guy is a
Bergwijn.
great dribbler, great quality dribbler. I don't know much about him. Then there's this other guy called Noah Lang that is being linked.
Yeah, it's this Noah Lang guy, but he comes from the Belgian league, so you have to take this with like you have to have your doubts when you talk about Noah Lang, for example. You can only give a subjective opinion on how he might become, because you don't know how he's going to react to coming to a harder league. About Bergwijn, I don't know, man. I would want something more exciting. Like if I had to pick one, I would pick Anthony, for example, the guy from Ajax. Like he looks like a really good, like a top level right winger.
I'm not too familiar with him. Okay, Anthony. So you think Milan is going to splash the cash on the right wing?
Yes, I believe so. I think we are going to spend around 40 to 50 million for Renato Sanchez and Botman, and then the rest of the money is going to be spent on the right winger, and then you're going to bring Origi for free.
Now, what do you think of? Because I think this was another argument that I had with Lart the other day. Right, where are you as far as Ali and Pobega? Because honestly, we don't know what these players are going to be when the stakes is you got to win the Scudetto, you got to win the championship. We don't know what kind of players they are. I guess it's something we have to still discover. Do you think they're going to be positive or negative? What is your opinion?
I don't know which side of the argument you're in, but in my opinion, if you're going to replace Kessie, you have to replace Kessie with a guy who's at least Kessie level, right? So Pobega can be good as a depth option and a good surprise like Kalulu, but you cannot rely on Pobega being the main guy for you next season. And the same goes for Adli, in my opinion, because Adli is gonna. I guess Adli is seen as the Diaz sub, right? This is the way we see Adli, because otherwise we need a candidate.
Yeah. Something like that.
So-
I'm not sure. To be honest with you.
So given that Diaz, in my opinion, has been disappointing this season, I think the management has to really think this through. If Adli is going to be able to handle the nerves and the responsibility of being in a team that has to win the league next season, so they have to think this straight, because either hope that Diaz is going to grow up a lot and become that player next season, or Adli has to become the player next season. So it's a bet that you have to think through.
Yeah. Now, I don't think that neither of these players are going to be Kessie's sub. I think, let's just say Sanchez is for now, or it's going to be someone else. I don't know yet if Ali and Pobega are going to be ready to take the team by storm. But if they are, if these players turn out to be Tonali, Benacer, etc., that level, then we will have a very good midfield, hopefully. So you're saying Diaz is a disappointment, huh?
I think it's evident, and I know that Laert has a personal stake in this, because he has a bet with his brother. So Laird cannot even accept the fact that Diaz has been disappointing. But Diaz has been disappointing this season. There is no way around it.
Yeah, I'm a little bit on Lard's side on this argument. I don't know if I'm ready to say he had a disappointing season. He obviously started the season very well. I do like the work he's doing right now. I do like the way he's playing. He hustles and he's like a little chihuahua, biting at everybody's ankles. I do like that. Of course, he needs to provide more. And the goal that we scored, he was involved in that. He got the assist of the assist. So
Yes.
I don't know if I'm ready. I don't, and I think he's going to come out at the end of the season like he did last season. I think he's
hope-
going to have a very good season.
I hope he comes out and he becomes a great player. But as things stand so far, I think he has had a bad season because we have literally had to play Kessie. Because just think of it this way, because people say we have played Kessie in order to counter other teams, and I understand that, but we could play a Rebic as well because Rebic does more defensive work than Leao, and yet we cannot even think about benching Leao because Leao is so important to us. So you can only bench players who you can get rid of and you can do without. And as long as Diaz is the player that you can do without, it means he has not been great by definition, as a result of the action that Pioli has done. I think Pioli agrees with me in the sense that he sees Diaz as a good player that has had a bad season so far.
Mm.
And Diaz has to fix that, man. He has to fix that because next season people are going to demand a lot from the camp of Milan.
Yeah.
And Diaz has to be ready for that.
His numbers, his offensive numbers need to go up. That's for sure. That's for sure. Like if you're an attacking player, you need to get close to at least 10 goals and assists altogether, at least minimum. And he's far from that. So, as far as those kind of numbers, I think it's not an argument. Diaz so far is having a poor season.
And Ray, this is the reason why I have always an argument with Laird about Diaz, because Laird last season was shitting on Hakan for the same exact reason that I am shitting on Diaz right now. But somehow it's acceptable for Diaz to do it, and for Hakan it wasn't. And Hakan had better numbers than Diaz. Hakan had literally better numbers than Diaz last season.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that. I mean, that's Laird's thing. Of course, he has that bet. Hey, guys, I'm a fan of Hakan, dude. I wish Hakan would have stayed.
No,
I'm a fan.
Listen, it's gonna sound so weird for me because I've never been a fan of Hakan, right? And I've always had this idea that the number 10 of Milan should be the best player in the team, right? The guy who wears the number 10 should be the Leao of Milan. What Leao is right now to Milan, right? But Hakan was not that guy, and sadly Diaz is not either so far at least. So if I'm at least I'm consistent in the way I judge things. If I said that Hakan is not good enough, I'm gonna say that about Diaz so far because Diaz is not providing that the number 10 of Milan. So let's see how the management will judge going into the next season. Maybe we will change formation.
How do you rate his last performance against Cagliari?
If Benacer would not have scored that goal, or if Cagliari, instead of hitting the post, they would have scored the goal in the last minutes of the game, we would have all shed on Diaz for missing that super easy chance. On Diaz.
Oh yeah.
And
Well,
on
no. And
Diaz, Giroud, and Calabria actually.
Yeah. Diaz, Giroud, and Calabria. No, listen. This is what I'm saying. This is why, this winning the Scudetto thing is not an obsession for me right now, because these guys got to score these goals, man. Like if you want to win the Scudetto, you got to put. That game should have ended 4-1. Oh, by the way, that was a save. Did you guys know that?
I know. Yeah, I saw it. Great, splendid save from Maignan.
Freaking Maignan.
Yeah, I fucking love it.
Yeah, me too, man. That save there is something that it's almost impossible. It's impossible. So we are living on the thread of the magic that is coming out of Magnan. Because if
Yeah,
it
yeah.
wasn't for Magnan, we
That was a
would
goal.
we wouldn't be. That was a goal. Magnan's save there was out of this world, elite. That's how thin the line is. That's how fucking thin the line is. We need to score these goals, guys. We need to score these goals, Red John. This is why I gotta see it first before. If we can't score these goals, then it is what it is.
I'm gonna become a little bit uh, like Laet in the sense that I'm okay as long as I don't care. Save those goals for next match. Okay, I don't want us to win 7-0 in one game and be happy about the game. I want us to win 7 games in a row 1-0. I don't care anymore. It's that part of the season that if the ref made a mistake and that's why we won. I just want us to win. We killed someone on the field. I don't care, man. I just want the 3 points.
Yeah, no, I mean, of course, yeah. But let's see, man. Let's see. Hopefully hey, if we win all the next 7 games 1-0, by the end of it, I'm not complaining. I want to see this team make that step. I want to see this team make that step. Like a championship team is a team that when you have the chance, you take it. That's the mentality. I want to see them take that step. And they can do it. They can do it. Anyway, I got to close in 5 minutes. So what last words?
I honestly don't know what to say because I kind of said everything I had to say.
Did you hear the rumors of Skillard's favorite player being linked with Fiorentina for 10 million?
They want our best player. Fiorentina wants Krunic.
Yeah,
Never
you would never sell Krunic, right?
sell Krunic. Krunic is uomo spogliatoio.
Yeah. I wouldn't sell Krunic either. Laird and I were talking about it the other day, and he brought a good point, and it's a kind of player that is priceless. What do you think of Benacer? Has Benacer grown a step? Because he's been playing really good.
For sure.
Do
For
you
sure.
think?
I think his last 3 matches have been incredible. He has been our best midfielder so far, which is kind of lucky from us because we had Tonali being really, really great. And then when Tonali kind of dropped form, then Benacer took over, which is great for us. It's great for us. And when Benacer is in form, we see the whole team playing different because Benacer is the kind of player who kind of sets the tempo of the game. He relaxes the game when he wants to. He speeds up the game process when he feels like. So Benacer has been great for us. He didn't have the best of seasons when we started. The first half of the season, I think he was very disappointing.
Yeah, it's true. It looks like he's getting back into his groove. Hopefully, he can keep it because if he can keep this kind of consistency even in Europe next year, that's going to be key for us. Okay, let's finish with this. Who is your player of the season so far?
It has to be either Tonali or actually, you know what? I'm gonna go bold and say Giroud. Even though
Really?
I don't like Giroud as a striker, I want us to not have Giroud as the starting striker next season, but to have someone better. But as the facts are there, man, we are still in the game of the Scudetto race because of Giroud. Giroud scored 3 very important goals for us
True.
against Napoli and against Inter, and those 2 matches are what are keeping us in the race and what have us in front of everyone else. So Giroud has been a great signing.
Yeah, those. I mean, fuck, those goals against Inter and Napoli, that's big game stuff, you know?
Yeah.
That's all him, 3 goals. And he created the goal against Napoli. That one there, from a technical level, number 9 perspective, that's something that you want to teach your students because the way he was in the offside
Offside,
position
yeah.
and then just anticipating that a shot might come in or something can come in right away, he jumped straight back into the line, and then that Calabria messed up his shot, but it was right there in his trajectory. Puts the foot there. That's number 9 elite kind of shit.
Exactly. That's instinctive, world class instinct in
Yeah.
itself.
Yeah, that whole sequence was world class. Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, good call, Giroud. Yeah, I didn't expect for him to have a good season like this. I actually did not like the signing at all.
Me neither. Actually, I was super against the signing this season, last year.
Yeah, I wasn't super against it, but I just didn't find it to be great. But instead, it's been absolutely great. All right, yeah, man. So my favorite player right now is Mike Magnan. I can't believe how good this guy's been, and I'm gonna say it for the first time. I'm glad he came and Donnarumma left.
My man, final.
Mamma mia, ragazzi!
Fucking hell, man! You said it. You said it. What's going on? Did Donnarumma disappoint you that much yesterday, man? What's going on? This is impossible.
No, the whole thing about Donnarumma is like what he's asked for his salary just makes no sense. I can't take him seriously anymore.
Yeah.
I can't take him seriously anymore. What he wants to get paid, and in relation to what his output is, makes no sense. If he, yeah.
By the way, Roy, do you think he was also kind of guilty at that goal yesterday? Because I think his positioning wasn't the best there. Like it was a strike from 35 meters away. You don't get scored like that. It wasn't like the best shot ever.
I've heard this thing. I've heard this, but I didn't really pay attention to that. Let me just check it real fast. Let me see the Macedonia goal.
I think he could have done a lot better there, to be honest. He had, if you concede a goal from 30, 35 meters away, either your positioning is bad or the strike
Okay.
is world class.
I'm seeing it, and I'm gonna see if I can share it. Hold on. Yeah, I'm seeing some issues already here. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can make this happen. Fuck, I'm late. I should go, but let me do this, and then we'll finish. I'm seeing some bad issues here with his, not necessarily with his positioning, but let's check this out. When this happened, I wasn't really thinking about Donnarumma too much, to be honest with you. I know this came out after the game. A lot of people were saying Donnarumma this, Donnarumma that. All right, let's see if this is.
Maybe more than his positioning, his timing, even his timing was kind of, he jumped too late.
Yeah, let's check it. Let's see. Let's see if this. Oh no, internet is working like crap. All right, I'm just gonna look at it by myself and tell you what I think. Okay, so this is what I'm seeing. All right, his positioning is actually normal. It's fine. Actually, you can argue that he should be more central than where he is. I mean, he actually has that post covered in his positioning.
Exactly. This is why I say positioning, because when you are closer to the side where the ball gets shot at, you shouldn't concede the goal. Not from the distance.
Okay, I would just say what I would just say I wouldn't call that a positional mistake. I would just call that a technical mistake. But that's maybe
Oh, okay.
the discretion. So this is when the shot takes place here, as you can see. I mean, look at where Donnarumma is. This should have never been a goal.
Yeah.
This should have never. He's right there. He's covering
He's right
the
there.
post.
Exactly. It's kind of embarrassing. He's right there. And he in my opinion, he kind of jumps later. I don't know what's going on through his mind. But
This thing is not working properly. Let's see if it-
the
okay.
shot is just too far
Oh
away
my
to concede. It's just too far away.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, look at how much. Yeah, he's in a better position than he probably should have been.
Exactly, yeah.
And it randomly happened to be right there. Oh fuck! What the fuck? The fuck is it?
Lose possession, and it's what a crack!
Man, what a disaster. Yeah, I can't. This 10 million salary that he wants is not justified. There's no justification to it. All right, my man. Listen, it was great talking to you. Great live today. We
too,
caught
man.
up with Vasile. We're going to have more lives during the week, so stay tuned. All right, Red John. Thank you, my man. Thank you for being here today.
Have a
To
good
the
one. man.
chat, you too. To the chat, everybody. Forza Milan, like always. We'll see you next time. Thank you for following. Like that button. Sorry. Like that button, guys. And Forza Milan, we will see you soon. Ciao.
Forza Milan.
DJI!